Friends, this is your host,
Golan-Globus Theater.
You have come here because you love the strange, the weird, and the supernatural. Pull up a tombstone and rest your bones for a while. And let me tell you the tale of the ghastly ones unearthed.
Fried chicken and french fries.
Golan-Globus, you motherfuckers deserve...
Golan-Globus.
They don't even deserve a Golan-Globus. You know what they deserve?
What?
Piles of shit. Where the fuck are... We give you treats all month long.
Yeah.
Vincent Price. Where are you? Nowhere. You left us in the cold, dark rain, just like Melanie Beck. You
Right.
motherfuckers.
And because of that, you're not getting Kinjite.
No, they don't deserve it.
You're getting one more horror movie. Horrible movie.
Yeah, and I want you, while you're listening to this, just to reflect on yourselves and what you've done to us. You've left us for a whole month.
Yeah. Think about that.
Yeah. While you're at home eating your fried chicken and thinking about us with a gun to our head.
Exactly.
Mattingly was shaking.
But Griff, speaking of pulling a gun to your head.
What's happening with you and your paper shuffling? You've been
I've
doing
got
that a
so
lot
much
lately.
notes. I have our notes. I have our guest notes. It's like a dictionary in my hand.
You got a dictionary there.
Griff, we got a special guest. I don't think I would even know this movie existed if it wasn't for this guest. I don't know, close to a year ago, he posted a GIF of a scene from this movie. I thought it was like a European avant-garde Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial.
Right.
Apparently it's from a movie.
Apparently it's from...
And that movie's called Night Killer. And the person who exposed me to this film and has to suffer along with us because of that is everyone's favorite. He's the Matt Houston of our show. Phil the Glass, or for this day, we're going to call him Phil the Slash.
Ooh.
Because we got a crazy slasher called Night Killer. Phil, how are you?
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Hey, did you make a drink for this? Is there a drink for the Night Killer?
Yeah, so 2 years ago, I did this. So I actually celebrate the director. We'll talk about the director a little bit. I celebrate his birthday. It's on October 2nd.
Okay.
So buon compleanno to Claudio Fragasso. But yeah, so the first time I did this movie was actually 2 years ago for 31 Days of Giallos. And I somehow shoehorned Night Killer into that on Claudio Fragasso's birthday. And no, we're not. We didn't. This is the first time I've never paired. I didn't pair it with a beer, the movie. I paired it with what else? Fried chicken and French fries.
You could have some
That, by the way,
yeah.
that wasn't a sound bite from the movie. That was an actual clip. That wasn't a clip from the movie. That was me.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
fantastic. I could just feel the grease slipping off your hair while you
said
said that.
shards of a beer bottle in it, because there's some beer bottle crushing happening in this movie.
Who's better, Ginty from Maniac Killer? This is kind of like we're kind of going full circle here. Maniac Killer and Night Killer, and they both crush candy glasses. So who did it better?
Well,
ask who. Yeah.
It's some places it's Night Killer, some places it's Night Killer.
Night Killer.
Yeah. Or Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Apparently, they tried to market this movie as.
Yeah.
Italy.
If I was Italian and I went to the movie expecting Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3,
They got this,
and they got Melanie's got kind of a leathery looking face,
Yeah,
but I'd be upset because there's no There's no Texas in this movie.
No.
There's no chainsaws in this movie.
Right.
And there's not even really a massacre in this movie.
There's interesting physics happening in this movie, though, which I can't wait to talk about.
Why wouldn't they call it like Nightmare on Elm Street 12? Because Freddy Krueger is in this movie.
Clearly, there's some hint of, IP taken from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Now, Phil, give us some backstory on Claudio Fragasso.
Yeah, so Claudio Fragasso, who is dubbed as Clyde Anderson for this movie, you all have covered Claudio, I believe, in a few of your movies. He had a really good partnership for about 10 years with the great Bruno Mattei, and you all did Robo War, I believe, correct? You did
Yeah,
Rats,
but those were directed by Vincent Dawn. Who's Bruno Mattei?
Well, that's a good question. Who is this guy? Maybe he's the same person. Did you know?
What?
Yes.
You're blowing my mind.
A person in Hollywood using two different names? That sounds insane.
Why would you hide
Yeah,
behind a pseudonym when you're making great films like this? I would be proud to be the
nearly perfect
director
movies.
of Rat Night of Terror.
Yeah, that's I think Rats Night of Terror, which you all did a really good episode on, which was very offensive. I think you know what you're getting when you get a collaboration of Clyde Anderson and Vincent Dawn, aka Claudio Fragasso and Bruno Mattei.
Is he always known as Clyde Anderson? Like when he's not Claudio Fragasso, or does he have other pseudonyms he uses?
I haven't written them down, but he has had some other ones in his career. I can't think off the top of my head of it. But one of the movie I did for Halloween last year was one of their great collaborations. I don't think you all have done this one, but it's Hell of the Living Dead, aka Night of the Zombies, which is fantastic.
No.
Great.
I'm familiar with it, but we haven't done it. Yeah, it's an interesting movie, Groove.
Well, I'm excited to see that. Now, how far? Go ahead.
I think the sad part of this, that the movie, this apparently Night Killer from 1990 ended their partnership. They stopped making movies together because of this very movie. So this is their last collaboration.
Why is that?
Sad. Well, apparently Claudio Fragasso wanted to film a psychological thriller.
Yeah, that's what we got.
And he was told by, I guess somebody went around him to Bruno Mattei and said, "Hey, this isn't gory enough. It's not, salacious enough. We need to add some gore scenes." So you'll notice in the movie, there's you could kind of easily determine what Bruno Mattei did. Yeah.
Seamless.
No, well, so I guess he did it without his knowledge, and he's really mad. Yeah.
I guess that would piss off some directors, especially back in these days where we're always talking about people who are just given full reins, like do whatever the fuck you want, and to have this guy go slip in this shit.
Yeah,
the blood looked fantastic.
I have the Severin Blu-ray of Night Killer, like everyone should have.
Right.
So there was an amazing interview with Sir Fragasso. He was knighted by the Queen of England, by the way.
Yeah.
And he claimed that Bruno Mattei also was pissed off with him because he's like, there's so many longer shots. How can I cut of this? Because he wanted he was editing the movie, and there was a lot of long shots. But Clyde, I'm gonna call him Clyde for this because this is Clyde Anderson's movie. He's claimed that this was going to be his Bergman movie. This was going to be his auteur movie, Night Killer. And when he saw the gore and the gratuitousness that Bruno put in, he was offended by that.
Oh. And he didn't put in anything offensive. This is
a
great movie, just relatable, like you can get into it.
Yeah.
This is
it makes you think. It's a thinking man slasher, unlike Bruno Mattei, which is just like a knuckle dragger slasher. So he was pissed off, but he came around. He's like, you know what? Bruno was right. Bruno made this film better. I got to give it up to Bruno. Now, this movie was filmed in Norfolk, Virginia, the Hollywood of the East Coast.
Yes.
It was everybody's.
It's
filming
like a
in Norfolk.
pilgrimage you have to do in the Midwest here because Hollywood's too far. So we just go to Norfolk, Virginia.
Yeah, it's just basically the same thing.
It's the same. I could barely tell the difference. There's the Walk of Fame and everything.
Right. They filmed it in the middle of winter. You can clearly see there's Christmas decorations everywhere.
Yeah.
And I doubt that was set dressing.
No.
They had to go on the beach in the middle of winter and jump in the water.
Right. And we know our lead actress is not allowed to wear a bra or any kind of undergarments in this whole movie.
Well, that's why she got hired, because she was okay with nudity.
Okay with it. She seemed to insist on it.
Claudio, I mean, in his interview, he was very upfront, very
Full frontal, if you will.
Full frontal, if you will. He was just like, yeah, she had a bad drinking problem, but she came to work. She was always ready to go. Just telling her her dirty laundry to everybody. So he's like, because remember, these guys are Italian. I mean, I'm sure it didn't. I mean, Phil, how cold does it get? You don't live that far from Virginia. How cold does it really get in winter?
I just think it's interesting that Claudio Fragasso is like Dr. Willow in this movie. Like he just violates all sorts of like confidentiality of people.
Oh, it gets worse.
Yeah, but as far as the weather goes, yeah, I'm about 4 hours from Virginia Beach, which is where the beach scene and the hotel was, and Norfolk is where they have some of the chase scenes at the end. And yeah, it gets pretty cold, and I'm assuming they did that because there's nobody at the beach at that time of the year.
And if you're Italian, of course, like 50 degrees would be freezing cold to an Italian, because he claims it was 10 below. I don't buy that for a second, that it was 10 below in Virginia. But he was filming a shot and he froze. He literally could not get back up. So they had to pick him up because he was like crouched down, like filming this amazing shot. So he's like, I can't go on anymore. I can't move my body. So they had to
talking about the director,
yes,
right?
The director. So they took him back to the hotel, and he's like, I have to get a massage. So he calls for a massage at the front desk. Can I get a massage?
Yeah.
Guy who comes to I'm using Claudio's words here, people.
Okay.
You know I'm all about diversity and about inclusiveness. He's like, yeah, this black guy looked exactly like Mike Tyson, but a gay Mike Tyson. He was super effeminate. And he gives me a massage, and he was great. He's like, it's great. So good, I fell asleep. And then he wakes me up. He wants to get paid. He's like, I don't know what this guy did to me. All right, 'cause I fell asleep. But I gave him $100.
This is the commentary you got from this movie.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He also referred to one of the, he didn't mention the actor's name, but one of the people, once again, I'm using Claudio's words, not mine. These words are not part of my vocabulary. He was like, yeah, this one actor, he's a total retard, but his dad had access to police cars. So we got 20 police cars, which we used in the film.
Oh, I guess we did see some cars like pull up to a house or something. Yeah.
So when you're doing guerrilla filmmaking like Claudio's doing, you need those kind of connections.
Yeah. Wow. Does this sound like the Claudio you know, Phil?
It absolutely does sound like the Claudio Fragasso. But why? If you ever see any interview with him, he's always asked a question, and it somehow is answered in a way that's nothing about the movie. Like what was the context? Just the fact that he needed a massage because he was frozen from a bad position, and it turns into him getting well, we don't want to say molested because
he doesn't know. He just assumed he got molested.
I mean, Mike Tyson's got that squeaky voice. I don't want to say anything where Mike Tyson's going to find me and kill me, but he does have like a kind of squeaky voice.
Yeah, maybe it was. I don't know what.
Maybe it was Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
I mean,
remember he went to jail.
He did. Yeah. I don't know
for sexual assault.
We
too.
do know from
exactly.
AEW wrestling that Tyson is likely to fall asleep himself. So I feel like if it were Tyson, he would have massaged him and fallen asleep next to him. Possibly nude. Who knows? No.
Also,
the
actor, the main actor and actress hated each other on the filming of this movie.
Yeah.
And the woman, I don't remember her name, but the woman that plays Melanie Beck, she came to Claudio and was like, "This guy's gay. I can tell just by the way he kisses.
Yeah.
I can't work with this guy." And in her defense, I'm not saying he's gay. He did have an odd kissing style. Everybody does in this movie because, like, Sherman gets really gross later on. Yeah.
Yeah, there's basically no
no-
sensual kissing in this movie. It's all pretty forceful.
He-
So
Yeah, Peter
I get
Peter Hooton is gay.
He is.
He is gay.
Okay.
He had he had like a 15-year relationship
Ah.
with this famous American poet. I forgot the guy, James Merrill or something like that.
So
And
hey,
he was
she
gay.
knew it. So hey,
Yeah.
I take it back, Melanie. Your gaydar is fucking on point.
for real.
And like Claudio's like, and for Claudio's defense, he's just like, hey, so what? All right, he's doing the part. He's the best actor for the part. So hey, there you go.
He was the original Doctor Strange. He was Stephen Strange when they were doing the MCU like 1.0 with like Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk and everybody's favorite Captain America, Reb Brown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Doctor
I-
Strange.
he's
He was in a movie. He was in a TV movie. Yeah.
there you go, you cumber bitches out there.
For real.
The real Doctor Strange, Peter Hubastank.
I would want that. See, again, we get the most boring actors, and everyone's like, oh my God, how will we go on with our Marvel universe if we don't have Benedict Cumberbatch? Peter Hooton is waiting.
Peter Hubastank, are you available?
He's waiting. He's ready to be old man. We're into the multiverse now.
Right.
Peter Hooton. We're all about diversity now. We have an out gay man.
I can already see the tie-in with KFC. I mean,
And
right
you
to
know what?
self.
Get Claudio on the phone. Have him direct his movie.
Yes.
This is how we do the multiverse. Multiple directors, Italian directors who have used problematic language in the past, possibly slipped in some questionable language. Like, what? There's so much to cover in this movie. This is a 9.5 pager.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
According to Phil, sent us 27 pages. He sent more notes than the script had. I think he took
You
a
have
good
to
one.
understand. I love this movie. I legitimately love The Night Killer. I think it's great. I think it's great.
I do need
I really
to know.
think there is. Yeah.
Because you
Yeah,
said
go
you
ahead.
watched this for the first time like 2 years ago. How? Because this is always
yeah.
the question when we come across a new diamond in the rough. How far into this movie did you realize I'm going to love this movie?
First finisher, chest punch, kill. I was like, what? This is insane. That very first scene where he has his first kill, it just grabs you by the esophagus.
Yeah,
pulls you, and it pulls you in. But yeah, I actually the first time I saw this movie was on a Roku channel called B Movie TV. It was a few years ago,
Oh,
and I kind of check it. It's like one of these channels where they don't tell you what's on the channel. You got to check it like every 2 hours,
mhm.
and this movie was on, and I was just stuck. I was like, how did I never hear of this movie? And yeah, so it became one of my favorite movies of all time. Love this movie. Because let me, if I may,
Go ahead.
there's 4 kinds of bad movies. There's pretentious, highfalutin bad movies, right?
Maybe
There's
like a
those, which is
Sharknado
like
or something.
like no, well, no, and like I would just qualify an example would be like Love Actually. Like
Oh, okay.
it's got a big budget. It thinks it's smarter than it is. It talks down to you. It's just bad
Okay.
garbage, right? There's big budget, cynical money grabs. You can tell I wrote this down. Cynical money grabs. That's
Okay.
like every MCU movie that's come out
Okay.
lately.
I'm with
like
you there.
this, right? Those are bad. Then there's the ones that are bad and boring and hard to watch, like Winter Beast, which is one of the worst movies ever made. If you haven't seen that, you can try it out. It's terrible, but
It doesn't sound like it
interesting.
has your endorsement.
Winter Beast.
No. Winter Beast. If you want to see a movie that'll make you just completely puzzled, it was shot like over 8 years, and they stopped and started, and facial hair changes and all this stuff.
Oh,
It's bad, but it's kind of boring. It's like it's not fun to watch. And then there's the highly self-aware movies that try to be bad. Those to me, like the new Slumber Party Massacre, like those are like I think of all the bad movies, those are the worst. I don't know how you feel about all that, but
Where
Night Killer, yeah.
how would you categorize the new Taylor Swift movie? Where does that fit into the whole?
That's probably a big budget, cynical money grab. I'll go for that because it's just like taking money from 12-year-olds. Sorry, Tate. Sorry, Swifties. Sorry,
Yeah.
Kansas City Chiefs fans.
Yeah,
Jeez.
you really
Good
do need to
Lord.
apologize to the Kansas City Chief fans first.
Yeah, we didn't say that.
Yeah.
Take all your hatred to Phil. At Flixology 101. Not us.
Not
We
us.
love Taylor Swift. She's a
Yeah,
multi-talent.
go for
Right.
it.
Here
Great.
forever.
She's
Even though
terrific.
she
I'm not
sues us
sick of it at all.
every time we slipped in a Swiftie song, she always sues us. But I believe we have one category left that you need to tell us
That's
about.
right. There's 4. So it did all 4, but Night
we did.
Killer is none of those because it's a good movie. And you know why? Because there's no such thing as so bad it's good. If the movie's good, it's good. Just let it be good. This movie is fun. It never gets boring. It's amazing. So even if it's not made properly or it's not the best acting, it still should not be in the bad movie
It
category.
is 1000% entertaining, and trigger warning to anybody who's about to watch it because it is full of just horrible things happening to a woman. But other than that, if that's something that you can accept from a movie, holy shit, this movie, it's gonna surprise you. It's gonna shock you. The physics makes no sense. The logic at times makes no sense, but every scene is fantastic. There's so many parts where you're just like, I can't wait to see what's gonna happen with this or that. It's incredible.
I would suggest if you've never seen this, watch it
Tubi.
before you continue with this
It's
episode.
on Tubi for free right now.
And it's on YouTube for free.
Oh, it's on YouTube as well.
Yeah. So yes, check it out first and then come back to this episode.
For real. Because
you want to experience this for the first time on your own.
Right. And especially, this is you got to watch this 2 times to see how seamless the logic is. This is like when I watched Twin Peaks, I was like, oh, it's cool because it's just incomprehensible. Everything's just happening and for no reason. And then you go back and watch it a second time. You're like, oh my God, there's logic to everything. Everything makes sense.
It's seamless.
It's seamless.
Huh.
So I feel like
it is kind of like it is like Mulholland Drive. Like the first time I watched Mulholland Drive, I thought it was awful. I was like, movies doesn't make any sense. And I watched it again, and it still didn't make sense. And then I watched it 10 more times, and it made like halfway sense. And it's one of my favorite films. So it's very Lynchian, is what you're trying to say.
I'm trying to say that. I'm trying to put that out there. Mulholland Drive was the same way for me. This movie, you're going to enjoy it the first time. You're going to enjoy it more the second time. You're going to enjoy it more the third time.
Like any great work of art, every time you see it, you're going to find something new.
You absolutely will.
And be like, I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be so stunned by what you're seeing, you're going to miss the next thing. It's like when people are laughing so hard, you miss that second joke.
Right. Exactly. That's the Golan-Globus theater paradox, where you're just always, and you miss like 5 hours of our show.
I know. That's why people constantly just listen repeatedly.
Right. Even to the 45-minute openers, which, by the way, we should cut off now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
can I ask one question before we get into the movie?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Just one. Of all your guests, gives you more notes than anybody else?
No, you take the cake. Nobody has given us longer notes than you.
Woo!
We get notes from almost every guest except Stuart. Stuart's the exact opposite of you, where he wings it every time.
He's really good.
He's pro, man. He's done like 300 of his own, or 400.
Yeah, definitely more than that. So he doesn't need them. But and then I don't know who's in second place, but we get a lot of notes.
You did 3 times the notes we did. Okay, and
Griff
Griff was like, I'm going crazy with the notes because I have to stop and
Right.
write
You
notes.
see,
and it's
you
starting
see
up
where
again.
I got the lead on you though is you did 1.5 pages of just the opening dance scene, whereas I did a paragraph.
That's true. Bruno Mattei directed dance scene. Point out.
Murder Rock or
Oh, this
or
hey.
Nightcrawler?
Murder Rock is a special place in my heart. This isn't Murder Rock level, but it was
Okay.
okay. I mean, yes, there should be a dance scene, an 80s dance scene in every movie as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But no.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Let's get
All
to
right.
this movie, everybody. Sit down with some fried chicken and French fries. And enjoy this trailer and wet your whistle and enjoy this trailer for Night Killer.
The masked maniac who has held our state in a siege of terror.
Maybe the fact that he was not able to kill this time will calm him.
Yeah, or make him more determined to do it the next time.
I'd kill that psychopath with my bare hands.
Welcome back, fuckers.
Oh.
Well, they've abandoned us all month.
That's why they don't get any Kinjite.
That's right. We treated them.
That's forbidden. That's
Yeah.
a forbidden subject.
That's the forbidden subject.
Yeah.
It's
You
the
don't get
forbidden
it.
episode. You don't fucking get it. You got treated all fucking month long. We got treated all month long. We enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah, we
And
had a
so-
hell of a good time. You're lost. That's the way I look at it.
Right
Griff.
now, you guys are getting tricked.
Yeah.
You're getting some
Wait.
fucking night killer.
We're not doing Kinjite?
No,
No.
God no.
I have 12 pages. I have 12 pages
Keep
of
'em.
notes.
Don't even bother sending them over. 'Cause we're not listening. We're not reading them. No.
Just throw those,
All right,
crumple them
all
up,
right.
throw it in the holiest of holy
Whisper into an envelope and send them to our way.
That's right. Whispered into an envelope. We haven't talked about whispers in an
All right.
envelope. We'll have to do that next week. For some Chuck.
Maybe a lot of
Norris.
whispering.
Let me get my Night Killer notes from my binder over here. Let's see.
Yeah. Get the
All right, yeah,
teleprompter
okay,
cleared
good.
up.
Got it.
Laminated.
Gotcha.
All right, Matt.
All right, we're
or
good.
Matt. Excuse me.
That was
Phil.
last week.
Yeah, that was last
Yeah,
week. I'm
We're
sorry.
all we're all off.
We
That's a
have a picture of
compliment. I
Matt
love
on my
that.
fridge here. So Phil, I want you. This was obviously your favorite scene. You did 1.5 full pages on it. Why are we opening with this scene? What is this scene?
Where is this scene?
Where
where
is
is
this
scene?
I
It's in
did
a
s-
mansion.
Greater Norfolk area.
We did say Norfolk
It's-
is the Hollywood of
yeah,
the East Coast,
yeah.
though.
It's
Yeah,
theater.
Yeah.
It's a theater.
It's a theater, yeah. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's got a stage. It's got like it has an auditorium, and there's a bunch of people
Seats.
dancing sexily. Sexily, it's hot. It's hot.
Paranoia's coming for you. That really would have punched it off.
Bring the beams. It's gonna slap in all the music we've enjoyed. All right.
It sounds like a calliope or something playing
Yeah.
insanely music.
Oh, I was talking to Griff before we started recording. The law of averages would tell you at least if you make a movie, at least one person could act. No, this movie proves no one can act in this movie. Everyone is over the top.
Even the child Clarissa overacts in this movie.
Yes.
I couldn't believe, like, she is clearly a 12-year-old. I could not believe she was a 12-year-old. I had a hard time with it.
Yeah.
She was.
So-
No, she was a Michael. She was a small person.
Mommy, this mess.
Mama.
That works so well in this movie. All right.
Imagine how
she's-
great it
she's
would have been if
actually-
they'd used him.
Yeah.
They used what was Michael's real name? What was
Peter
it?
Bark. Yeah,
Peter Bark. If he played Clarissa, I would believe him to be. I don't want to spoil anything, but I
Yeah,
would believe him as Clarissa.
All right, guys.
She was wearing a turtleneck. Yeah,
True.
I was gonna wear my turtleneck, but it's kind of warm in here. I wanted to really wear like a thin scarf like Melanie likes to wear.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna let my bosoms hang out.
And she always had these like sweaters on and
We're still doing the top half.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
dancing.
Dancing.
Well,
We're on the
we
stage.
have not gotten to Tara Buckman yet. Well, she's coming up.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
So this is the what 89, right?
By the calendars I saw throughout the movie, this is 89.
So we're still in the 80s, so
Yeah.
it tracks,
We got leotards, we got the
leotards and
leg warmers, going on.
yeah.
We got dudes in oversized sweats, and we're doing some nice hands on hip thrusting into the camera because that's how you dance. And then there's always got to be I don't choreographer, dance coach,
right?
yeah,
Ball buster.
yes. And she
Never
looks,
satisfied.
she's 80, 89, 32, so she kind of looks a little bit older.
Yeah.
Well, she's a heavy smoker too.
Yeah, we see that.
She's got her fucking staff.
Hip stick. I don't know.
Stick,
what
yeah. But
this is how the brilliance of these actors. That was her backstory. That's why she's such a bitch. She was a brilliant dancer. She blew her knee out and she can no longer dance.
Did Claudia tell you this, or did you just gather it?
That's how I gathered it from her performance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why she's such a bitch, because she, much like Persnickety Devlin from last week,
Okay.
she's trying to motivate these people to be, they're dancing like Shakespearean actors.
They really are.
And she wants them to bring them to the modern era.
Right. You don't have to project for the back of the seat. You're at Norfolk.
Yeah.
The closest seat
Nobody's
is
gonna
20
be
feet
here,
away. Yeah. You don't have to worry about the hair flips. We can all see it.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, she's has sort of like she's leaning on this thing that is supposed to be a cane, but unfortunately, if you look closely, it's a marching band baton.
Oh.
It's like and then I started wondering, maybe I'm wrong, that maybe choreographers use that like marching band people to hold time. So I was confused, but she seemed to have a limp, but she seemed to run pretty well later. So
Right. And she's got great pipes. She's great at screaming. I don't know
Yes.
how she keeps her throat. It's the cigarettes. They do something to keep her throat well conditioned to yell at people.
nicotine.
And she's got a new face to yell at.
Well, there's a face that's missing.
Yeah.
Liz, or Miss Ross, as she calls her.
Yeah.
And she's like, where the fuck is Liz? And Liz shows up late, like always. She thinks she's the star.
Right.
And she's just and
That
then,
old Virginia traffic. Everybody's always talking about it.
and she's like, I don't give a shit. If you're on time, you're 5 minutes late in my world.
That's
bitch.
right.
Get your leotard on and get back here, bitch.
So for being a small theater, the dressing room is opposite of the stage. It's usually behind the stage. Matt told me that, so I know it's fact.
Right.
Opposite side, you have to go downstairs, then you go upstairs, then you're in the attic, and there's like a little attic door that swings open, and then you crawl into it, and then there's this giant elaborate bathroom.
Yeah. She passed by Spinal Tap on the way through that. It was so cavernous.
And their tiny Stonehenge.
Right.
So she finally makes it to the back room, and dun dun dun. What do we see, Phil?
Well, there's a shadow, and you can see the shadow. There's claws. It looks pretty menacing. That's sort of creeping down the hallway, and yeah. And then there's she's getting undressed. So we get our first set of breasts.
That's
and
right.
Boobies, right?
First, yes.
And then
Because
a stream, and then
Go ahead.
no, it's really good
I
because
just-
she's sort of, we get that stuff, and then all of a sudden, who appears? Who is it? The
Claw.
night killer.
Claw. Yeah, the night killer, Claw.
Freddy Krueger,
Freddy
whatever you want to
Krueger.
call it. And I'm glad you pointed out that the silhouette looked menacing, because the view is awful. It's just, it's like the most rubbery looking claws on the fingers.
Yeah, the shadow was the way to make it look menacing.
Yeah.
Because once you get a view of that, they give you up close and personal with the claw later, so we'll have a field day with that. But what we learned from this opening scene, when he doesn't just, like, I thought, for the audience's pleasure, we're getting the tit shot. No, this night killer, he's obsessed with women, and so he's waiting to get the goods.
He's obsessed with bitches in heat.
Yeah, bitches in heat. And this bitch, Liz, probably why she was late, getting fucked in the parking lot.
Exactly.
So she's got the stink of, puss all over her.
Yeah, she's stanking up the backstage. That's why the backstage is so far away from the stage.
That's right.
And so every killer has their signature move. And the night killer is no different.
Right.
He just punches his fist all the way through their torso.
Now, D&D logic, if I may, Dungeons and Dragons logic here. If you have 5 blades on your hand, you would think a slashing kind of, glancing, Ron Garvin's through this woman's chest, hands of stone, right through her.
I knew that was coming.
Well, that's something
the
like
Ron Garvin.
A slash is something Freddy Krueger would do. This is more sophisticated than Nightmare on Elm Street.
Is that sound like a Claudio move to you, Phil? Is that what Claudio saw?
Claudio.
Oh my God.
Saw.
Claudio, yeah. See, I think I'm glad you brought it D&D because this is like a backstab. It's double damage. And when you use, it's like a rubber claw. Here's the thing. For those of you who haven't seen this movie, he's wearing a Freddy Krueger mask. It looks it's not exactly Freddy Krueger, but it's close enough. His claw sent rubber, and they're not trying to hide it. So it's not like they are. I guess they're trying to make you think it's sharp, but this is just a regular person punching through a woman's torso. That's what we see.
That's how enraged he is.
It's like Ronnie Garvin. You're right. Just like Ronnie Garvin.
And they admitted it was a Freddy Krueger mask.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because there's also an interview with Claudio's wife. I don't remember her name.
Behind the drum kit.
For some reason they're interviewing her behind a drum kit. She's not playing drums. She's just sitting behind a drum kit. And
that's Priscilla Drudy. Yeah.
Yeah, Claudio's wife. They're like
she wrote Pearl too. Yeah.
Yeah, Robo War, all these great classics. But so she's like, no, we're not trying to hide. I mean, they altered it slightly. Like one of the eyes is like drooping down.
Yeah, it's kind of like falling out and drooping down a little bit.
Right.
I just thought because this is obviously Bruno's edition, right?
Yeah, because Claudio, this was his Bergman. It's time to show his auteurness.
Mm-hmm.
He would have been a slow burn, but Bruno's like, you got to get him from the get go,
right?
You got to get that audience.
What did Phil tell us early in this episode? That first punch through a woman had him hooked,
right?
So Bruno, 1000% correct,
and Claudio agreed later on. He saw the error of his ways.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm interested though. Did Bruno work on that movie Riccio? Because that reminded me a lot of the violence and weird gore of Riccio.
Is that how they pronounced it? I thought it was just Riccio.
He did, yeah.
I didn't know what you were. Yeah, I didn't know what you were saying for a minute. I was like, "What are you talking about?"
I don't know. Rikishi?
Yeah, Riccio.
Yeah, the story of Riccio. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe he was inspired by it. I don't know which game
we're ever gonna do.
Yeah, we'll do it before the year ends. We'll do it. How about that?
That was the first movie I saw that was over the top gory, and it did freak me out, and I was scared.
How old were you when you saw it?
I want to say 10 to 13. It freaked me out. I don't know why. I'm still a chicken about violence and whatever that rubber being ripped apart. Anyways.
All right. We got our first kill. Now, choreographer lady, I don't think she even had a name.
Right. I just saw the coach in the notes.
Fucking furious. These guys aren't getting it.
I mean, Phil did 3 paragraphs on this. Phil, would you like to describe her anger, her frustrations?
Yeah, I mean, the choreography, she's really upset and she completely fucks up her lines, and they don't even give a shit. It's embarrassingly bad. I actually transcribed it. Here it is.
You did.
Here it is. Oh God, help me. God help me. God damn it. With you. Stop. What's the matter? This show sucks. And that's when we all agree with her, right? This show does suck.
Yeah.
It's never a good one. I don't know what to do. And then she pulls out a cigarette. And then she's like, okay, I'm really nervous. Okay, I'm going to get her. I'm a little nervous. I'm going to get Elizabeth. So she announces she's got to take a break. She's got to find Elizabeth Ross. I'm glad this person that has no presence in this movie gets a full name.
I know.
Elizabeth Ross. and so she goes off to get her.
And who does she bump into? Why, the Night Killer. He's
'Cause-
not done.
Yeah, as we'll learn, Night Killer's thing is he's got to,
Kill them and then rape them.
yes.
Or rape them and then kill them. He's either or.
Again,
He's flexible.
I gave you guys the trigger warning. The R word's coming up a lot.
There's a lot of sexual assault in this.
And
Well,
a
you don't
lot-
see it. It's implied.
A lot-
Because Claudio is fucking your mind. He explained it best in his interview. He said, this movie it was a brilliant idea. It was like mental masturbation.
I felt mentally masturbated.
Yes,
watching
I
this
did
movie.
too.
Every time. And
It
the only
was a
way,
mental reach around.
and I mean, obviously, the only efficient way to lubricate yourself for that is to enjoy some fried chicken while you're watching this movie.
Yeah, we'll get to that. There's no fried chicken yet.
Well, there's French fries, right?
So she bumps into mid. I don't know. Are we assuming he's fucking the corpse at this time?
We have to assume that.
Yes.
Did we also mention that he's got a Freddy Krueger mask, black turtleneck, black leather coat? That's the Night Killer's garb.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. Black slacks, I assume.
Yes, all black.
Who knows about the shoes?
Maybe it was Johnny Cash that's the Night Killer. I don't
Yeah,
know.
The killer in black.
So she probably goes back to, oh God, God help me. God damn it. What's the matter with you? Stop. And then that's when the Night Killer slashes her throat. He can't stand her like husky voice, cigarette voice.
So we saw that it was made of rubber, but now he has effectively slashed somebody in the throat with it. So it's not rubber.
Yeah. Somehow this sliced her vocal cords, but not her jugular.
Hey, we're going back to D&D. It's called a precision strike. And you go for just like a tendon or something, and it hinders the opponent, makes it so they can't run or act a certain way.
But she can't act. That's true.
That's a tough role to get. So this guy's got some great intuition on his side.
So this actress, I don't know her name, but she's giving it her all. She's staggering. She's grabbing at her throat.
She's holding onto that little cane and she's like really hobbling over it. It's incredible acting. And she's trying to get to the main stage, but she ends up getting forced up to the balcony.
Right. It's so confusing back there.
Yeah, it's so confusing. There's so much. It's a
I think
labyrinth.
Spinal Tap said that's the way to the main floor. They don't know. They think they're in Cleveland. She goes up to the balcony where she's trapped. And that's where the Night Killer... Does he punch her through the chest too?
Yeah.
Or does he just... Okay, and then he throws her off the balcony.
Yeah.
Dun, dun,
dun.
Splat.
All right, everybody, and now we're going into our credits, and we're coming out, and we're...
This is originally what the movie started as. Bruno put that whole front
Oh,
scene
interesting.
in, so,
Because that added like at least 9 minutes to the
Yeah.
movie, and this is like an hour 32.
yeah.
So
Imagine what's on the cutting room floor, Griff. The brilliance that was just left there. That we'll never see.
I can't imagine. I
Yeah.
can't imagine.
The breast examinations, everything.
Right.
So, all right, this is where we see our heroine of the movie. What was her name again, Phil?
Yeah, Melanie. Yeah. So
No, what was the
she's played
actress's
by
name?
Tara Buckman. So
Okay.
do you want to talk about her for a second?
Sure, she's a drunk, I hear, from Claudio.
Yeah, so if you remember, her most famous role is being the other girl to Adrienne Barbeau in the Cannonball Run movie. Remember the girls in the bikinis or the Lamborghini, and they zipped down their fronts to get out of getting tickets. Did you
think
guys
I
see this
saw
movie?
that.
Cannonball
I
Run?
might have.
Years ago. I can't. I remember Adrienne Barbeau. I don't remember
Yeah.
Tara Buckman.
Well, that's right. No one remembers her. She was the other one so that was what she was actually most famous for. And also the mother from Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh
which
yeah, the
she's
one that
also
gets
raped and killed.
yeah.
Yes.
You want someone to get raped? You call Tara Buckman.
Maybe that's why she went to drinking. Jeez.
Her
So she-
boobs are her calling card. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what
Well,
she's.
we'll
famous
learn about
for.
that later. Get ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah.
She's a nice little scene. They were going, and also Claudio and his wife were going on how great the cinematography in this. It's like this shit. It's like a fucking TV movie. And she's like combing her. It's like, oh, the light coming through the window and combing her hair. Nice mother and daughter moments.
Right. and then we get a knock at the front door.
Well, did we point out the font for Night Killer? It looks like some like bargain basement Sunset Strip metal band from the 80s.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it was awful.
I thought it was like the lettering and styling of like what Stranger Things uses now.
No. It was like
Like
it
the
looked
red.
it looked like cross between like a hair metal band and like a superhero chest emblem. Like it was
okay.
really awful.
It was like Man-O-War, like it was the exact same like font as Man-O-War. Yeah.
So done combing your hair. We get a knock at the door. It's Sherman.
A name that doesn't get dropped for another 15 or 20 minutes. So for the longest time, this was just guy, maybe ex-husband. I couldn't remember who the fuck this was, but he's coming to pick up Clarissa
and drop off a Christmas present. Remember, it's Christmas time.
Yes, of course, it's Christmas.
And he
can't open this until Christmas.
He's there to take her to school, take her to his wife, to take her to the countryside.
This is such an interesting part of the movie. So yes, you're right. Pick her up. And it turns out this is not an ex-husband. This is just a family friend.
Yes.
They bet Melanie and Sherman's wife, Annie, have been best friends for 6 years, and they make sure to tell us that. 6 years that they've been circling around this family. And so they're going to pick up Clarissa and take her to school.
Or to the countryside. I don't know.
It goes both ways.
Like we were talking about this. This movie happens over the course of 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. You don't know.
Damn, Phil, what is your best guess? How many days does this movie take place over?
32 hours.
32 hours. That is
and 8 of them are
it's probably
8
a week and a
hours
half,
just
right?
her being
It's like a
raped.
week
You
and a
learned
half.
that.
You think a week and a half?
Yeah, because of Christmas. So when do you have your Christmas? It's between when you have your Christmas tree up, and it happens all before Christmas. So I'd say back then it wasn't like it is now, where everyone does Christmas like at Thanksgiving. It's like 2 weeks. It's probably a span a week and a half.
Well, I already got my Christmas shit up. It's all up. I got 3 trees up.
Yeah.
I got one hanging from the ceiling.
So she's just taking her daughter away. I don't know. She trusts these people, though. They've known each other for 6 years.
Right. And,
we've done this show for almost 6 years. You trust us? You'd give your kid to us, wouldn't you, listeners?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you, Phil, let your kids?
Yeah, I've let you guys take all 3 of them. It's great. You guys are awesome.
I'll come down there for some spring baseball, and I'll take them to the game. Or summer baseball.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So here's we get the interesting thing is that apparently Melanie works out of the home. She's a writer, a poet. Like, can anybody help me here?
I don't think she knows.
Don't skip ahead. She's some kind of writer because we find out later. But remember, after they had the scene, the funky music where they meet up with Annie.
It was Seinfeld music.
Yeah, it was like it was snapping the bass. It was like
yeah. Seinfeld interlude.
Remember, and so they cut to Melanie. She has this tray with like a sandwich and a cup of coffee, which I think is weird. I don't like anybody. Do you guys do that? Have a sandwich with coffee, like a breakfast sandwich, maybe? But
are you new to this show? Are you new to this show? Griff would never let a sandwich go in his mouth.
That's true. I guess I was talking to you, Tim. Did you?
No, I wouldn't. I'm not a hot drink guy usually. Okay. I don't like hot drinks. Really? So that's
I see people eating like a hamburger at a diner with a cup of coffee. It's just gross to me. But anyway, she flips on the news. And
what is the perfect meal to eat? What is the perfect meal to have a cup of coffee with, though? Slice of pie? Would that be doing?
A donish. A donish.
You just invented the next hot thing. Fuck the cronut. It's the donut.
It is. It's like putting a hot dog in a beer. I'm full of great ideas.
God.
But yeah, she flips on the TV to watch the news with her sandwich, and it announces that the hooded killer has struck again, and he killed Brika Chernuskevich, and she's the 4th victim. So the choreographer did have a name.
Okay.
She got a
Okay.
full name as well for only being in the movie for about 12 seconds.
Oh shit! I didn't even
Yeah.
catch that she had a name, and I love that
She had a name.
the news reporter's got her hair all 80s teased out and everything,
Yeah.
like she's going down to dance at the club later or something. I loved it.
So what is she wearing? The news reporter.
Oh, good question. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Was she wearing a little dress and
A
rain
fur-
jacket or something?
No. The answer is anytime in this movie you ask what a woman's wearing, it's a fur coat.
It's a fur coat.
They're all wearing mink coats in this
It's
entire
the
movie. So
it's the
she's wearing a mink
sexiest
coat.
80s look.
That's
a woman
right.
in a fur coat.
High heels,
Almost.
fur
Fur
coat.
and nothing else.
Yep.
So yeah, she's joining her like hoagie and coffee.
It was
I'm
such a
gonna guess it's tea, by the way.
I'm
She's
glad you-
classy.
that you brought the up the sandwich thing because I did hit pause for a minute and I was like, have I ever had a sandwich with a coffee? But no, it's just you just drink coffee. You just coast on coffee until it's lunchtime. You don't fucking eat anything.
We have a donut, you know.
A donut, please go get yourself a donut.
Donish? Yeah, that's tasty. But yeah, she just had a Wonder Bread white sandwich. Yeah, if we go into the details of the sandwich, this is going to be an 8-hour episode.
We knew it.
No, wait a minute. Did they actually say that Brika Chiroslavovich was repeatedly raped?
They
Because
did.
how?
Yes.
They did.
We just saw the whole kill scene.
Yeah.
Did she fuck her body after it fell off the balcony?
Clearly.
Yeah. And
Did the dancers
were
watch?
still they're still in stage freeze. They were still they're waiting for instruction.
It's either that or they thought it was part of the fucking show. They were confused.
It was.
So
that's the stage freeze scene.
Great wording. Fucking show.
Fucking show.
So now she's got to get back to her work.
Melanie. that is.
Melanie.
So she's got to go from the living room. She's disgusted by the news. You know what? It's all about shock. It's all about trying to scare you.
If it bleeds, it leads.
She's not going to be scared.
No.
So she turns off that news. You're not getting my fucking ratings. I'm going to enjoy my coffee and sandwich in my office.
She's dipping the sandwich in the coffee.
It's salami.
It's a ham sandwich.
Salami was in there. Capicola. It's all falling into the coffee. The lettuce, mayo, all of that.
Sauerkraut. Yeah.
Ugh. The coffee. If you don't like seeing floaties and hot drinks, this is not the movie for you.
Yeah, that was a brilliant move of like zooming in on it. 'Cause it terrified.
This shot took me right back to a Sedaris film where he had the lady with the nails typing to open it. That's where we're at here.
Malibu Express.
Malibu Express. So there she is, just keyboard warrior, working the finger to the bone to make all that billionaire poet cash. Because, Phil, you pointed this out. She's got a book they were very focused on. Do you remember the name of that book?
Yeah, there was actually 2 copies of Nothing to Wear and Other Poems.
By Hans Clyde Anderson.
There's no way that was by accident. That was 100% Claudio Fragasa getting you ready. It was foreshadowing.
I like it. That's good foreshadowing.
Phone rings. Griff, you loved the tone of you were actually looking for that for your cell phone, weren't you?
That's right. I have downloaded this because it's so grating, and sometimes I miss calls because I just don't pay attention, but this fucking ringer. What is it about this tone that drives me absolutely insane?
That's what he's trying to do. It's a psychological thriller, Griff. He's trying to put you like off kilter right off the bat.
Goosebumps on my neck every time. I'm tense every time.
Cut to the other side of the call. It's a man in a leather jacket, a very night killer-ish leather jacket.
Yeah. How
Slick
much
back hair.
Yeah, the conditioner out of this world.
Yeah, well-conditioned hair. You see him from the back.
Yeah.
He's on the phone at a bar talking with Melanie. We learn that this is more than likely her deadbeat husband who she's estranged from.
Well, she does say right off the bat, "You're drunk again." I believe that's how she opens this conversation. Phil, do you remember how this conversation goes?
Yeah, he was like, "I'm really messed up. I don't know what to do." And he says, "I'm all a mess." And she's like, like, "I'm sick of you. Get the fuck away. I'm done with this." She like kind of erupts into anger, like really, really
Yeah,
really quickly. So she gets really agitated and just hangs up on this fucker.
Yeah, and she does throughout this entire movie.
He tries to say that she didn't, that he's been calling all day, but both lines have been busy.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And that's a
So
very
we now
major.
know there's two.
Yeah. Like an episode of Columbo, which they clearly took. See, Claudio, I give him credit. This is fine. I watched that movie Ran today that Aubrey recommended, and we borrow from other previous works and do our own kind of thing with them. He took that episode of Columbo and said, "This is bigger than what Columbo did. I can use this and build this beautiful movie out of it," and he fucking does. So he's got 2 lines, or she's got 2 lines.
And
I guess they used to share this house, so both work.
She hangs up,
Yeah,
and then
he's
Go ahead.
Yeah, he was just trying to, he says, "I've been trying to call the other line, but it's been busy." And she's like, "Well, that's probably because you're so drunk."
Yep.
So, or is it?
Is it? So keep that in mind, dear listeners. We're going to hear that a lot. Your husband's a drunk.
Foreshadowing.
So
he's enraged after she hangs up, and so enraged he crushes a glass in his hand, his gloved hand.
Yeah, very importantly, as we mentioned, Annie, Sherman's wife, was taking Clarissa to school.
Or the countryside.
And this is where we learn the countryside comes into place, because Melanie tells them Annie has taken Clarissa out to the country. Sherman was taking her to school, but then he gave her to Annie, who's taking her to the country.
It was like this chain. Like he picks her up, walks her down a block. Why is Annie? Why isn't Annie just outside? And where does he go?
I don't know. This is so weird. Like,
because he waves them
Well,
like bye.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's so.
That's a good question.
Weird.
Where does he go? Yeah, crazy.
I wonder.
All right, so we get the clutch.
Well, hold on a second. Who crushes the glass better? Who is the better glass crusher?
Like, we can give anything to
this
Ginty.
Mysterious man, or Ginty? What?
No, we can't give anything to Ginty.
Yeah,
Ginty
no,
gets
fuck
fucking
Ginty.
Ginty
credit
did
for
it with his hand. No, he did it without a glove on, and this guy needed a glove, so I give it to Ginty.
You can give anything you want to Ginty. The only thing we give him is our fucking hate, pure venom hate.
But the opposite of love or hate, Griff, is self-love, because we get this scene. Not only you people, you're listening to this on Halloween, which is also the last day of Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah.
And as always, we like to give back to the community.
That's right. We're wearing pink everything right now, everybody.
I'm wearing pink bikini briefs.
Even our teleprompters that we read off of have a pink background.
Right. Mattingly is all dressed in pink.
Pink with white font.
Yes. And so this scene, I think Claudio, he probably started the whole thing off.
Yeah.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
This
scene.
I got to tell you, this movie's ahead of its time, because this is what every millennial does when they wake up. I do this. I wake up.
Yeah.
I lower my
no breast
sweater.
cancer.
Yeah. I lower my sweater.
Yeah.
And I reach for each of my breasts.
Yeah. She's wearing, so Melanie's wearing a scarf.
Beautiful scarf.
A very like a scoop neck kind of sweater.
Very cozy looking sweater.
Right.
This is like her ensemble as well. She loves these sweaters.
Yes, she does. And then she's looking at herself in the mirror, and she pulls her breasts out of her sweater and just starts rubbing her breasts while she tells herself, what did she tell herself, Griff?
Well, she says, "You're a fine looking woman. Just made."
Oh, that's what.
No, she's reflecting on her life.
She says she's doing a Stuart Smalley affirmation.
She's doing
this is you. You have a daughter.
That's right.
Your marriage is on the rocks.
You're a self-efficient,
You're strong,
self-independent
nice
woman.
Titties.
You have great breasts. Your nipples are great. Your toes are fine. People like your toes. You've never met a man who would not listen to you. You're doing okay. So this is the millennial affirmation. I do this every morning.
Yeah, great job by Tara. I mean, she's doing this while massaging her breasts.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
With the intensity And again, you mocked Claudio for his
I never mock Claudio.
vision for a shot. You were like, yeah, he's talking about the lighting. Perfect.
Well
Mirror
lit
shot.
dress. I will
Perfect.
say that. I'll give
This scene belonged in that movie Midsummer, which I just recently watched, and it was all about mirrors. This is the mirror shot that should have been in there, though.
Okay. So yes, we have that.
So yes.
Phone rings. She's thinking it's that fucking no good deadbeat husband again. And it has a very similar whispery, gruff kind of voice. But this time, she knows it's not her husband because she's never heard her husband say, "You're a fine-looking woman." You wouldn't call your wife Mrs. Beck, or would you?
This might be part of their, how they keep
Role
the marriage
play?
alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
You're a fine-looking
how y'all think
woman,
about it.
Mrs. Beck. Just made to be fucked senseless.
Jesus.
Don't
good.
move.
This is not the call you want at 10 a.m., I don't think.
No, not after you've had a big sandwich and a coffee.
I mean, you're going to be like,
You're after the coffee, she's got to take a shit.
exactly,
You know?
a sandwich and coffee.
Yeah.
I noticed she doesn't use rye bread, so that's going to be a dirty shit. That's the kind of shit you need a shower after. We don't have
I'm gonna
bidets in
take my
America.
time with you, Mrs. Beck. But first, I'm gonna fuck your brains out. So she hangs up on that. She's like, my husband, even when we're role playing, would never get that filthy.
Right. And then, I mean, as you would do, Phil, you call the police right away, right?
Oh,
Well, no, you
yeah,
look out
she
the
looks
window
out the
first
window.
to see,
Yeah.
you know.
Phil's got this. He knows he knows this
Yeah.
movie.
Well, he. Remember when she answers the phone, she doesn't have the strength to lift up her sweater, so she's just standing there topless, and
She's in the
it's like her,
moment.
like sweater. and that's- it's too hard to get that sweater over them big titties. It's
Maybe.
so she's standing there, so she feels like she's being like the guy's like watching her. So she's like, how could you be watching me on the phone? So she's like, oh, I have a payphone in front of across the street in front of a river. Maybe they're calling from there. So she goes out and looks out there. Yeah.
What is the geography of this place? Because
Amazing.
it was like on a residential street, like in a neighborhood. And the next thing you know, she's living along a river or a lake.
Yeah, they do perfect The Shining trickery where it's like in the front of her house, clearly suburbs, but in the back of her house, it's like, oh shit, beachfront property just across the street. Yeah, there's that one street. But I think I was onto something when I was saying that this is some kind of weird foreplay with her husband because she doesn't put her tits away. You think you get a creepy voice telling you, I'm watching you. You'd be like, fuck this. I'm putting my tits away. I'm actually going to go put a bra on. I don't remember where I left it because I have one and I usually,
Well, she
rarely
does
wear it.
lock up the house, and she has a very weird system.
After she talks to the police.
Yeah, they make sure to let us know that the cop's name. Like, why do this cop's never seen for the rest of the fucking movie? But he's like, I'm like Officer O'Brien.
Patrick O'Brien. Irish name, ma'am. Purebred.
And she's just like, look, I just got this creepy fucking call.
Oh, wait a minute, ma'am. Was he interested in your tits and body and not your brains?
How many lines do you have in your phone lines? Do you have in your house, ma'am? Why, I have 2. All right, lock yourself in your house. I'll call you back.
But what is your second line's number?
What's the logic behind any of this shit? I'll call you back. Why?
Phil, you
To
gotta
make
have
sure your
one-
second line is working?
Yeah.
What was
I guess-
he gonna do in 5 minutes? I don't know what was he doing? Like masturbating? Like she told him, like, I'll be right back. I gotta put it away.
He does. He
Like,
says, I will call you in
holy
exactly
shit.
5 minutes.
He's got to get all the boys. He's got to get the line where it's the speaker phone and the speaker in like the interrogation room where he can record it for later or something. Like, what the fuck is going on? This is bizarre.
So she's like, oh, it takes me about 5 minutes to smoke a cig, so I'll just kick back, light up a cigarette.
You know,
Locks up the house. You notice like they They had a lot of locks. You have to use a key on the inside to lock your house up.
Very
was-
interesting old house here because
Yeah.
yes, you can lock yourself in, which definitely won't come into play.
Not at all.
That
Not at
does
all.
not exist.
That
That doesn't
no.
exist anywhere.
I like
Like,
this.
I don't care
Yeah.
how old this house is. What are they that nobody has an inside lock like that.
No.
Well, she also used one of those key to the cities, like giant, like
Yeah, I was.
old-fashioned keys. So, yeah.
And I saw that she had the check from her first publication, and it was, the fucking 6 foot by 4 foot,
You
check.
love novelties.
She does love novelties. But yeah, she's got the normal door lock that, is on the knob, and then she's got one deadbolt right above it, and then she's got a second deadbolt that she added to the door, which, by the way, when you watch her put the key in, shifts around in the door, so that can't be that safe.
So she goes back to have that cigarette, waiting. She's got the stopwatch, 5 minutes set.
Yep. Claudio does a perfect time. I said he's got issues with time in this movie, but you see a clock in every shot, so you can time along with it. Microwave timing.
Right.
Microwave timing.
And we see a very rubbery claw, like scoop up those keys
Right.
off the table.
Right. So silent.
Phone rings again.
I love
Go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
go
I
ahead.
just love how the claws has to be so careful to pick up the keys so it doesn't bend backwards. Like
Yeah.
he has
The
to
weight.
he has to put the whole nail under the freaking thing, and so
Yeah.
that it doesn't just slide off and show how rubbery the stupid claw is.
Right.
Yeah.
Phone rings. It's
Yeah.
the police.
And we see the fucking clock on the wall.
Yeah.
We're like, it's been 2.5 minutes.
Yeah. She tells him that. She's like, Officer Patrick O'Brien, it's been 2.5 minutes. You said 5. Well, it'll only take me another 2.5 minutes to fuck you. It's the night killer. It's not Officer O'Brien.
Oh, shit.
I couldn't wait the whole 5 minutes. And I don't think you can, Mrs. Beck.
I could never last 5 minutes. And she turns around and the night killer's in the fucking house, Griff.
How could you?
When a
Oh,
stranger calls.
My God. And she realized that second line, he was on it.
Turns around, he's standing right there, mere feet away from her. So what does she do? She runs into her office and locks the door and goes for her gun.
And he's at the door. He's just scraping his nails along it. Mrs. Beck, I've got a packer waiting for you. She's going into the drawer. She's got a fucking revolver in there because, of course, she's a writer. So, next to...
suicidal. Ernest Hemingway.
Exactly. Yeah, next to all the barbiturates and, uppers, downers, zigzags, pollywags. She's got the fucking bottle of rum in there. She's got all kinds. Hunter S. Thompson would be jealous of this drawer. And, of course, in there, she's got a couple hand cannons. She gets the tiniest revolver.
Very dainty, very feminine.
Very dainty, very feminine. And just throws the bullets all over her office in a
Well,
fit
she's
of...
flustered.
She's very emotional. This is
Are her
women.
breasts still out? I don't remember.
Yeah,
Phil,
well,
breast
remember
report?
the breasts, her breasts are still hanging out. They're right around her. They kept getting lower too. They're around her waist by that time. It was crazy. But yeah, don't remember the reason she has all this time to fish through these drawers is the phone does ring and the police do call back.
Thank you.
And and the night killer explains it away, saying his wife is crazy and all that. It's just a foolish woman calling the police, and he's doing it in his night killer voice.
No, he did it in his normal
And that's why
voice.
she has that time. Well, yeah, I mean, but
Yeah.
not as normal because we don't want to know who the night killer is.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is a mystery after all.
This is a psychological militaristic.
We only get to see it like 10 minutes later who the night killer is, but we'll get to that scene. Yeah.
Really?
Yes, we'll get to that. Scene.
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
Ah.
Yeah, this movie just keeps you going. Like I forgot about that last scene because the next scene's even crazier. It's just crazy on crazy. So she's loading up the revolver, Murray. But Melanie has her own way of loading a gun because she loads a gun like 4 times in this movie. And apparently this woman is from Russia because she only ever puts 1 bullet in the chamber.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
Well, how did she fire multiple times through the door if she only put 1 bullet in it?
She only fires 1 time into the door.
I thought she fired a couple times.
No, Phil, do you remember anything different? I remember 1 bullet.
It was just one single bullet because she dropped them all, and she had a whole handful, and they fell around her feet. And she put 1 in the chamber, and then she shot it and thought he was dead.
She just assumed.
He's ready to put one in her chamber
That's right.
because he opens the door. She opens the door.
She assumes he's dead. And
She's a
then
crack shot.
yeah, she opens the door and then he's just like a few seconds go by and then it's just like bam, surprise, bitch, I'm in here. Did you think I was dead? I wanted you to. Surprise.
Then he grabs her, pins her against the wall, and pulls his mask off so that the camera pans away from him so we can't see, but she can see who the Night Killer is. Pops a switchblade, threatens it in front of her face, and we thankfully cut away. It's theater of the mind. Claudio knows whatever you can come up with in your head is way worse than he could show you. Bruno Mattei could show it to you.
Yeah.
But Claudio,
We're so used to being like terrified at night. He's doing it in the daytime.
Right.
He's trying to tell.
Why is he called the Night Killer if he's doing it in the daytime?
There's not one single murder that happens at night in this whole movie. There's not one.
Did not realize I was gonna stumble
It's
upon
ironic.
that gem right there. Yes, he is called the Night Killer, and he does
He's
do all
he's
this.
he's like the mid-afternoon killer. Is what they should
Right.
have called.
Maybe he's from some very far out European place or something.
He's jet lagged. He doesn't
Find
know.
out
Like
later.
it's night to him.
Right, like you're right. His killings all happen in American daytime, Eastern Standard Time, always by noon.
Cut to the hospital where we meet a character. If you thought Dr. Loomis was a bad psychiatrist, Dr. Willow takes the cake. This guy, he's walking down the hall with our lead detective, Clark. And he's giving a little exposition about this character named Melanie Beck.
So Detective Clark is trying to tell him she's our only chance to catch the serial killer.
The only victim who survived.
Exactly. She saw his face clearly, so she could help lead us along.
How does he know that?
I don't know.
Well, does he leave the mask? Because Clark does pull a mask out.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, they have a mask, so I think they think that's why she saw him. Yeah,
right.
So they had that. I was questioning that as well, but Claudio
seamless.
I was just gonna say that this movie's seamless.
But Dr. Willow's like, no, good man, good boy. She has clearly been traumatized, which makes her amnesiac.
Dr. Willow should not be saying good boy to Detective Clark.
Well, if Claudio wrote it though,
he might.
You think that's the worst? Oh no, it gets worse. You think boy is a bad? It gets worse.
Man, that's a tease.
All right. So he's just like, no, she clearly went amnesiac by the trauma. She doesn't even know her own name. She doesn't know she has a child. As they're saying that, and Clark whips out that mask. Maybe this will jar her memory. She knows nothing.
No. There's one way we can get back to her, but this is not the way. This is not the way. And then we go over and we see that Clarissa is waiting there with Sherman and Annie.
Yeah, back from the countryside.
Right. And so Will is going to take her to see her mom. And again, we're on first day as far as my calculation. We're on day one.
Yeah, day one.
Day one. So she goes in
Yeah. Remember, real quick, just before
go for it.
I don't know if you said they talk about the emergency plan.
Mm-hmm.
Clark and Willow talk about the emergency plan, and then Willow says, "It's too dangerous. We can't do it, Clark." And they're debating whether or not they'll do the emergency plan. I just want to squeeze that in there because that's important.
Nope, perfect foreshadowing. We need it.
Right.
So Sherman and Annie, of course, want to escort Clarissa into the room with Melanie, her mom, but they're not allowed to because reasons.
And we notice that Sherman has a Band-Aid on his face. We're like, shaving accidents?
Gotta be. Or eating pussy.
Or pineapple. So Clarissa goes into. I'm glad you pointed this out, Phil, because I noticed it too. Willow gets in fucking Melanie's grill in this scene.
Does he?
Yes, he leans down, puts his arm around her head, face like noses are touching, and he's just like, "Hey, Melanie, this is your daughter, Clarissa."
Melanie, can you hear me? Your daughter Clarissa is here.
Hi, mommy.
When are you coming home? I want to play Snapjacks with you.
Oh, I'll be home soon. And then she just turns away.
Yeah. She looks at the doctor like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah, and then he escorts her out. That's where he gets all up in her grill. And she's just like, I'm tired. I need to rest.
Do you recognize anything about that girl? No, she's just a beautiful young girl. Why would I recognize her? Well, she's your daughter, Melanie. Oh, I'm tired. Please scoot my gun closer to me.
She's even forgotten the whole idea of children. She's like,
She said it was a beautiful young girl or something. She gets young.
Cut to, we see there's a lot of reporting going on in this movie.
Yeah,
too.
the news coverage is great. They're always wearing, the reporters, mink coats.
It's a luxurious job being a beat reporter. Yeah,
right.
You can afford it.
Do you want to take us to the scene here, Phil?
Yeah, this is in front of the Sherman's house, Sherman and Annie's house, and Sherman kind of jaunts down the steps. Yeah, that's Sherman's house. So he jaunts down the steps, and he's like, and then this whole thing is completely over-explained interview. Like he just offers so much information, like every single interview in this movie.
Yeah,
and he basically tells us through the reporter that he's the guy that saved Melanie. And the killer left this big scratch on his face, so he got cut by the killer. And he over explains that Mrs. Beck was assaulted for 8 hours. Like again, I'm not sure how he knows that. And him and his wife will have custody of the daughter, Clarissa. He's saying this, mind you, to a reporter. Like, why does she give a shit?
Live news feed.
And then his wife comes down the steps and wearing a mink coat, as all women do in Virginia
classy
Beach.
Women do.
And then she interjects. She's like, "Well, no one has seen that good old happy drunk Mr. Beck." So they're talking about the guy, I guess, who crushed the glass, right? And
it's got to be.
Yeah. They're saying that Mr. Beck has not been seen anywhere for a while, so he's not going to help.
Deadbeat.
And then. Yeah, that's complete deadbeat. So where is he? I guess they'll take the kid because Mr. Beck is nowhere to be found.
They mentioned here that Mr. Beck was a sergeant in the police.
He was
for
a
a while
loose cannon cop.
Loose cannon cop.
Got suspended.
And he kicked off the force, for drinking or something, just a loose cannon. But
now,
and then Annie offers like this other thing. She's like, "Oh, the Lord hasn't granted us with a child," and then Sherman gets like he reacts like he wants to freaking punch his wife in the face, but he's on camera, so he can't. Yeah.
Well,
so anyway, they usher
she's
him off.
basically saying he's shooting blank, so of course he's offended by that. But we also need to revisit the timeline here.
Oh.
Is this still day one, or are we into day two now?
We're in day two.
We're in day two.
Oh my God, we're on page 3.
Yeah, well, we're on. Yeah.
Sorry.
Now, how often? Like, what was the last scar you got? Because if I go back and watch some territory wrestling, when Ronnie Garner got his face burned, it took him 9 months before he was out of like the full face covered Band-Aid.
Guy's a quick healer, man.
For sure. Like within.
For sure, man.
Balls.
Yeah, sure, man.
Well, right now we just know he's got a bandage on. We don't know what's going.
Did he have a Band-Aid on?
Yeah. Well, no, I think he did have. He had a bad, awful, prosthetic scar on.
Yeah, he had a terrible scar.
Yeah.
It didn't look like a fresh wound. It looked like some weird ashen bullshit. It was weird.
All right, so we're like the next day after that horrible rape. Melanie in her own full-length mink and into her Pontiac Firebird. I would assume people in Norfolk drive. So
absolutely. In the wintertime, especially.
Right. They still
That's why she's got the T-top off, so she has to wear her mink. Because it's in the middle of winter.
Right.
Never thought about that. I don't know why
it must
this
have been freezing.
This had to be awful. But this is the other thing. Day 2. She was just in the hospital for being brutally.
She got a good night's sleep and then she's ready to go.
Right. They're just like, all right, you're on your own. Bye.
Didn't have insurance.
We didn't even realize this. Claudio came over and said, your American healthcare system is so fucked. This is one of the messages he put in his movie. This woman was brutalized. And the next
8
day,
hours.
You were like, all right, go. Leave. You don't need us anymore.
Right.
You
Well,
need
she got brutalized for 8 hours. She spent 8 hours in the hospital. It evens out.
fucking walk it off, you bitch. You fucking weak
You
bitch.
bitch in heat.
You weak bitch in heat. Go get laid. That'll help you.
Speaking of getting laid, we see a Jeep drive up next to her with this dude named Axel, played
Tough
by
name.
the great Peter Wooten, Doctor Strange, if you will.
Who's also driving in a fucking fully exposed Jeep.
Yeah. And he also, he's keeping warm by sipping a little of the hooch. And we know it because it's in a paper bag.
Right. Hey, baby, want to wet your whistle?
Well, last week I complained about people going at a Nick Cave show. This is the appropriate place to do some wolf whistling.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, baby, want to wet your whistle? And he's just sipping on that.
80s hair metal music videos have told us that a woman wears a mink coat in a Trans Am convertible when she's ready to fuck, when she's looking, when she's
Well, she should be on the
prowling.
hood if she's really ready to fuck.
Well, she'll get out on the hood when
Yeah.
you stop. You can't drive and be
Well,
on the
that's
hood.
true, you
So she needs somebody, a stallion, in some kind of vehicle to hoot holler her way.
Well, she's not feeling it. I mean, I guess it tracks. You've just been brutally raped for 8 hours. I don't think that you get back on the horse again. But so she's just like
The only horse she's looking for right now is sweet heroin.
Well, she flips him off. It was like bizarre. She always almost like she gave him the British fuck you with two fingers.
yeah,
it was like a weird flip off.
Yeah.
And then she pulls down a dead end street, and then Axel follows.
Phil, of course, did 3 paragraphs on the logic of this driving. So, Phil, can you help us understand, where are we? Where do we end up?
She drives really fast, and she makes a hard right turn on Surfside Drive. And I actually looked it up on Geo Maps.
Yes,
I
of
looked
course
for
you
it, and
did.
it's indeed a dead end. It's
Right.
a dead end street.
That's
And then I realized there's
Which
a
is
sign that also says
symbolic.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's symbolic.
Claudio.
Mattingly,
Claudio, there's characters are on a dead end path to nowhere.
beautiful. Mattingly needs to listen to this because his
Bellissimo.
notes.
This is his Bergman. This is. So
No, Phil, go on, please, with this
Well,
driving.
it's like the Virgin Spring. I mean, it's so inspirational. You're right. It is a Bergman-esque thing. And then who knows? They don't really show what happens because it was just, you're right. It's just symbolic. It doesn't, that road goes to nowhere, just like this movie. I mean, the characters. Yes.
And the Talking Head song.
It's great.
So she apparently there was some kind of off ramp or something on that dead end street, and she winds up at a building. I don't know. Is it a gym? Is it a hotel? Is it an office complex?
Masseuse parlor?
I don't know. This scene is so amazing. If you're a longtime fan of Golan-Globus theater, you know that when we come across a scene it's so amazing we can't describe it with our words. We have to reenact it. And this is one of those scenes. So we are going to be reenacting this scene. We will call it the bathroom scene. I will be playing the role of Axel, the restroom hustler.
And I will be playing the role of Melanie.
And Phil will be playing the most important role of all, the one that the whole scene hinges upon.
This is true.
Guy at the counter who looks like Danny Bonaducci with a Fu Manchu mustache.
All right.
All right, so everyone. Let's get...
Looking for me?
I came in here by mistake. What's with the gun? Anybody can make a mistake.
What do you want from me?
I say, I want to be friends.
Yeah, you always try to make friends in the ladies' bathroom?
It can happen.
All right. Take your pants off.
My pants?
Uh-huh. And your socks. And your shoes. And now your career's over.
Okay. And now?
Your shirt.
What about these?
Toilet. Throw them in the toilet.
Do it! My shirt too, I guess.
Yeah. Now flush it.
Let's get
Flush it! Well, so long, friend.
What about my clothes?
Just reach in and fish them out.
There?
Shouldn't it be anything new for an asshole like you? You're full of shit yourself.
Hey, bud, what happened to your clothes?
I got molested in the little boy's room. Ooh, and scene. I want to point out, I mean, with all due respect to Edward Lionheart, Griff and I are method actors.
This is true.
So I actually did flush my clothes down Griff's toilet.
I'm gonna need you to help me with that, Bill.
I don't know. I'm sitting here now with some Play-Doh blue bikini briefs on.
I did go as a woman for 2 whole weeks.
Griff did live as a woman for 2 weeks.
I wanted to make sure to get that voice right.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you,
I don't know how. I mean, it's cold as shit outside. It's a Norfolk level cold out. I don't know what I'm gonna do to get home because my clothes are in Griff's toilet.
Yeah,
I don't know. You don't have a dryer.
Well, no, I got a free mink. You can have it now that I'm done
okay.
being a woman. You can have the mink
okay.
because I bought a Trans Am for the role, and I bought the mink coat that cost me $30,000. So there we are.
All right, people. This is the kind of movie we're dealing with. That's the brilliance.
Molested in the little boy's room. So Phil, again,
he wasn't even in the little boy's room. He was in the ladies' room.
The women's room.
There's so much wrong with this, and I'd just like to point out that I served as a hotel clerk for half a shift.
Oh,
to prepare for
half a
for my
shift.
role as well.
Oh,
Half a shift.
okay.
Yeah, I grew a little bit of a mullet. I shaved my beard. I just have a mustache, so I feel good about it.
This is called commitment, people.
This
Something
is
you
it.
guys don't know about.
This is
because
it.
you disappeared for a whole month.
Right.
Commitment.
The sweat, the tenacity.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
The tenacity twice.
So let's talk. Can we talk about this guy's cobalt blue underwear? It kind of looked like Kelly LeBrock's panties in Weird Science. That's the first thing I thought about. But then I thought about it again, and to me, he looked kind of like Submariner.
Submariner?
Are you saying
Doctor Strange?
Peter Wooten should play every role in the MCU?
Yes. Yeah. I think he'd be a perfect Submariner with those briefs. Except they'd have to have scales on them.
Yeah, that'd be fine
And
for him.
pointy ears.
I think he got something there because he was saying my role being just drowned in robes and wizardly shit beyond me. I'm not a warlock. I'm a fucking man.
Well, how about we talk about Peter Wooten's? Clearly, he studied under Meryl Streep because he nailed a Virginia accent. Everybody from you know it. You've been there. You've been there, haven't you? Haven't you, Phil?
Yeah,
they all sound
exactly
like
what they sound like.
Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah.
Now, since we're having the Cobalt conversation, I need to ask: did you guys?
You got some cold balls because he's out in there cold.
I didn't think he had cold balls. Well, maybe he did, but was he stuffed?
He's got blue balls in more ways than one.
Okay. Was that the symbolism of the cold ball?
It's all symbolism. Have you know anything about Ingmar Bergman? Come on.
I don't, and I wish you would describe it now. Please.
I either, but I'm trying to sound smart.
God damn it! I was hoping you would at one point, so I didn't have to be the
Seventh
audience.
Seal. Isn't that an
Seventh
Ingmar
Seal?
Bergman movie? I don't, about like death playing chess with somebody.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Hey,
I'm half smart.
they did that in Baldur's Gate 3. Did you? Okay, guys, let's reset her real quick. Okay,
yes.
We're 9 hours in already, and we're gonna be talking about his jockstrap for 9 hours. Did he stuff him?
No, I think that was all Wooten or Hooten.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are very small bikini briefs. They were very tiny.
Yeah.
They were Samurai Cop-esque, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't even think Matt what's his name? I can't remember. Matt Samurai Cop.
I can't think of his name either right now. All I know is I'll use a name that we can use. Joe Coleman blushed at those bikini briefs.
He did.
And Joe Coleman tells us all the time, I had half a cheek sticking out when I went to the grocery store. Didn't even bother me.
Okay. Are we done with the underwear talk?
Yeah. Can it? No.
Fortunately, Axel had for just these kind of occasions. You never know when someone's going to force you to put
Cannon.
What?
Matt Hannon.
Matt Hannon. Yeah, rhymes with cannon.
Oh, that's it.
You never know. You always gotta have backup clothes in case somebody makes you flush your clothes in the toilet.
This is true.
So he has a backup set of clothes in his Jeep.
Right. I guess when you are a complete fucking psychopath, you run into these types of situations and you need to be prepared.
Question: was this the bathroom scene what pushed Melanie over the edge, or was she always planning on going to the beach to commit suicide?
Phil.
Anyone?
Yeah, I think he got. I think he got to her just in time, and I think he's been following her for a while. He's been stalking her, and so I think he saw her. She was good. He knew she was going to make her move that day, so that's why he did it on that.
So she was planning it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you'd have to if you had a bag of pills with that size. I mean, she has like huge bag of pills and everything. Yeah. But she was
I mean,
planning it.
she wasn't going to the electric forest with that backpack full of drugs. That's a electronic music festival.
Oh.
So a backpack full of drugs would be. Yeah.
Isn't there like a suicide forest in Japan too?
There is. That's the one that the wrestler guy,
Jake Paul. Yeah,
Jake Paul got in trouble because he filmed a dead person.
Well, she's going to a suicide beach, a blood beach, if you will.
Yeah.
And
every other beach in Norfolk is a suicide beach.
Right. Especially when it's in the middle of winter. So she's got her blanket laid out. She's putting all her barbiturates in order. Like, we're going to take this first and then this.
The blues, then the greens, then the reds, and then the blacks.
Then Axel rolls up. Nice continuity. He didn't have an extra pair of shoes. So he is shoeless.
Shirt, pants, no shoes.
Runs out, kicks all the barbiturates everywhere. Get those out. He's doing a Charles Atlas, kicking sand in her face, challenging her.
That's right. What the fuck are you doing here? Now you gotta drink ocean water.
Seawater, get that out of your system.
You crazy fucking bitch.
So he grabs her.
Abuse.
Remember,
constant.
this is. I mean, it is Virginia, but still, it's December.
Yes.
So even in the summer, the water is pretty fucking cold.
Yeah.
So I give them points for, and according to Claudio, she wanted to do the scene twice, and he was like, "No, you're gonna die. We're only doing this once."
Wow. Well, I think they got it pretty much on the first shot. I got the fuck.
Yes, because we can see the animosity between these two actors because he's just dunking her head repeatedly in the water.
I couldn't tell if he was trying to get her to throw up or find Jesus down there, but it was fucking intense. And I'm just like, this guy, because Axel is just raining abuse. Does that sound familiar, fans of our show? When you didn't show up for Vincent Price? This is why we're here today. Because Melanie is us, Golan-Globus Theater.
Yeah. And so she does puke up. Well, she just spits some shit out. I didn't see any.
Yeah, they didn't force her to eat the chunky soup like they did for poor old Bobby Eaton.
So
I had to hear that story again the other day. So
it's like in the doggy style position with her, and he's like hitting her on the back.
Yeah.
He's puking up their barbiturates.
That's right. Full pills come out of her mouth. It was great.
All right, so cut to a very mysterious figure, a serious figure that we just saw earlier in the movie, didn't we? Is this that deadbeat dad we've been hearing about?
Yeah, this is what we're
Mr. Beck.
Mr. Beck.
And he's at the bar again, as we expect. We can only see him from behind. Well-conditioned hair, looks beautiful, not a hair out of place. Talking to it. Want to talk about great acting?
Don't worry, Murray. I got this one for all of us. Now, this woman, clearly a traveler. She came somewhere, Britney Spears territory or something, up to Norfolk, looking for a new business, the Hollywood of the East Coast. She really wants to shake her. She actually looked like she had some curves on her for the 80s, so she wouldn't have fit in.
She's been around, Griff. She's not some naive lady, because she's like, there's something about you.
Phil's our master of the cocktail, so please, can you help us first explain the drink she has here?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, I think that Claudio Fragasso thinks everyone is from New Orleans because her accent is like, and plus isn't there like all this Mardi Gras stuff? Like she looks like she's dressed for Mardi Gras. She's got like the thing in her hair, and it's probably like a mint julep or something. Even though
She was
that's Kentucky, but something screwed up, yeah. But
she was wearing
it's some
purple
sort of
too, so
door.
Mardi Gras works. She was wearing a purple.
And
Yeah.
she looks at this mysterious stranger, and she's like, if a stranger asks for something, there's a rat hidden somewhere. That's what Mama Cornette always used to say. But she's like, well, fuck that old bitch. I'm going with you, honey.
Strong, silent type. Just let people reel themselves up. That's what they always say. Don't say anything. Just let them hang themselves. And that's what she's doing here. She just keeps talking.
She talks herself into going with this guy.
Exactly.
He says nothing. I don't think he says one line.
We don't even get to see his face. I imagine he's just working. Go ahead, Phil.
She does pause to look at the cue cards, though. I mean, this woman is the worst I would say she's the worst actress in this entire movie. That's pretty bad.
That's saying a lot.
That's what I
That's
would, or the
saying a
worst
lot.
actor, her or Annie. That's between those two. That's what I would say. But she's awful.
Speaking of awful actors, Melanie wakes up in a strange place. She doesn't know where she is.
Right. We don't know where she is.
Cut back. Mr. Beck. This is the scene I was alluding to earlier. Apparently, the night killer, I'm assuming this is the night killer.
Yeah.
Because he's wearing a black leather coat, has a little art studio / killed place.
Yeah.
So they set up this shot. So we're like inside the studio looking at the door being open.
This is the shot.
Yeah, it's backlit. So we can literally see the light that they're using behind. So the idea is, because it's backlit, we're not going to be able to see the night killer. He literally walks in front of the light for a second, and we see the actor.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
We see that's see. Oh, that's the night killer, but we're not going to spoil it for you guys.
Yeah.
In fact, even though you should have,
You've already watched the movie, taken your own 9 pages of notes, and sent them to us so we can enjoy them.
So they walk in. He puts on the night killer mask and the glove, and she's getting into it. She's into the kinky stuff.
Right. I mean, Phil, do you remember some of the paintings? Would you like to describe some of the art we've got going on here?
Yeah. So he has we know it's the night killer's lair because you see on the opening shot that his mask is hanging. There's a mask there that's hanging there.
Yes.
And some of the artwork is really good. I mean, it was
cool.
Like it's a bunch of nudes. So he's obviously a pervert,
right?
Painting nude women. Yeah.
Right.
And it's probably, I would guess, probably Claudio Fragaso's wife did these paintings.
Maybe
they seem
behind her drum kit.
They seem pretty. They're very well done. They're tasteful, but they're perverted.
I thought the one they lingered on it for a minute, but the guy who does all the art for Hunter S. Thompson, sorry to bring his name up again, Stedman, I think his name is, something like that. But it felt like kind of that art style, and it was like a woman's face or something. But it was pretty cool. I was like, well, this guy's just an artist. We just don't understand clearly.
Yeah, like once again, Claudio saying you don't understand me.
Right. So one of the other things I love. Oh, go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, we didn't even know this about Mr. Beck. That he was a cop and he had an artist workshop. I mean, that's what is right?
Right. We're used to cops being.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we're used to cops being so shallow and having one personality. I'm a high school bully grown up with a gun and the authority. But Mr. Beck is an artist. He's in touch with another side, a creative side. Like, you think he'd be more understanding? He would be more fit for a wife who wants to fuck all the time, you know? That's what we know about
maybe
Mrs.
it wasn't
Beck.
Mr. Beck.
We don't know who this is.
I'm so confused. I'm confused. Unless I pause
well, actually, we actually do know who this is because we just saw the guy's face. But we're in the world of Claudio.
Yes,
we don't know.
We don't know.
Or maybe he's like, he intentionally did that to throw us off. He's like, you think this is who it is.
A dead end?
It's not.
If you will.
A dead end.
Dead end.
So they start going into a little bit of role play themselves.
'Cause he
which
puts-
we just learned earlier. We were talking. Mr. Beck and his wife are into role play.
Right, exactly. She was putting her tits out there on display for the creepy guy calling her, and she didn't cover them. She played with them more. So clearly, this is a thing Mr. Beck does. So this is Mr. Beck, Murray. He puts on the mask,
Gotta
and
be.
we're like, oh,
Unless you actually watch the beginning of the scene. But yeah,
please,
it's Mr. Beck.
don't remind people at the beginning of the scene. Let's go along for the ride. So this is clearly Mr. Beck, and he puts on the mask and the claw, and the woman who, I mean, Phil thought it was a mint julep, but you can clearly see it's just a full 8 ounces of some kind of bourbon.
Drink of purple, I thought.
Barrel. It was not Henry IV Loco. And she is swinging it down. And so she is tipsy as fuck. After she turns and sees him with the claw and the mask on, she's like, what is going on here? And you see, just like Mrs. Beck, she starts playing with her tits. So clearly, women are just into this.
Yeah, they like danger.
Exactly. And he's
Do you like fairy tales? How about Little Red Riding Hood?
"Why, grandmother, what a big claw you have here."
All the better to hold you with.
Oh, yeah. Oh, big bad wolf, what a big schlong you have here.
Well, no, she says, Granny, what a big ugly mug you have. And that pisses him off.
Oh, okay.
And then she's like,
I know she busted in with the big schlong
yeah,
part.
what a bronze schlong you have.
And of course, he's not a Bronson guy.
Yeah.
He's a fucking Statham guy. Doesn't even know what Statham is.
Yeah. So he just grabs her by the throat, thinks she's into choking. She's not. She's like, cut this shit out.
Right. I'm calling a cap. You know what? I'm sorry. I have to go back. She walks into this studio and she picks up the phone
Yeah.
and says hello.
Why did
somebody.
she do that?
People are just, this isn't just Claudio's thing. Everyone's
Why
experimenting,
did she do
Griff.
that?
I am
Why
so
did she
sorry.
do that? I probably.
I did not want to do this to this episode where we've already talked too much about everything. But she walks in and just picks up the phone.
She
and
thought her character would do that, Griff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
the big question is, were there 2 lines on that phone?
I saw 2 lights.
That's why.
Yes.
That's why she did it.
Yes.
Seamless.
Seamless.
He was training for years in his workshop. This is what he did to
Guys,
get Mrs. Beck. She was
serious
the prime target all along.
For sure.
Yeah.
How many phone lines did Claudio have in his house?
2, of course.
I thought he might go above and beyond.
No,
have
it's
8.
It's 2.
Okay.
So he grabs her and starts dunking her face in like melted wax. What was that?
I think it was
Yeah.
melted
It
wax.
was like liquid latex. It was latex, right? Because he's a mask maker.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Those masks. Yeah.
Wait. I watched Friday the 13th 4, and the kid in that movie was a big mask maker. Is this
Yeah.
that kid?
No, we
Yeah,
don't know
Tommy
who it
Jarvis.
is.
Yeah.
That's the
Well,
mystery.
I'm adding
We have
to
no
it.
idea.
I'm asking questions.
Isn't that? But
Griff, we
Why
don't
would-
know. It's
I'm asking questions.
why would somebody from Friday the 13th make a Freddy mask? Are they foreshadowing Freddy
Throwing
versus
us
Jason 20 years later?
That had to be it. That had to be it. They knew the new.
They're just trying to throw. They're trying to throw him off the trail. Clark
So
he's trying to throw Clark off the trail.
So he does the old chest punch. He's like, fuck the aliens. He's a real chest puncher. Kills her, lays her out on his work table, puts a night killer mask on her.
Yeah.
Her tits are covered in wax.
It's like her whole body's covered in that wax latex. It's disgusting. She looks like a glazed donut. And then he's just like,
or don't-ish.
Don't-ish. Everybody, please.
Yeah.
Don't-ish.
Yes. Then he's like, now I'm gonna fuck your brains out. And he kisses the mask on mask kiss.
And now, Murray, we've already gone long, but this scene begs us to stay forever.
Yes.
It's like the Hotel California scenes.
Yes, this is another scene. We cut back to where Melanie is. Apparently, she's in a no-tell motel, locked up by Axel. Axel comes back. Who knows? What's the time on this? How long has she been in this room? Days, weeks?
Incredible question.
Okay, so he got her. He brings. Well, I don't want to get too far ahead, but he actually mentions that he dry cleaned her clothes. So that doesn't happen very quickly.
Well, it could have been a very quick, a one-day thing.
In by 9, out by 5, zip dry cleaner or whatever. Okay,
That was
okay,
nice of
so
him to
maybe it's
do that,
okay.
though. For a guy who's going to
Yeah,
brutalize
it
this
was
woman
well
for the
done.
next few days, it was nice of him to get her clothes dry cleaned.
Yeah, he's got a
Yes.
heart.
Yeah, because I think she is wearing his toilet shirt because she's got like a flannel shirt on. But not only does he have dry cleaning, everybody, he's got if you really want to, if you've been through a very traumatic event, if you've been kidnapped, what's gonna this bring you back up? Fried chicken and French fries. He pulls out a thing of KFC and just lays out on the bed, sprawls out on the bed, as you will. Who doesn't like to eat their fried chicken in bed? And he starts just chawing on like a fucking drumstick. And then he pulls out a backpack and he pours out all these contents. He's like, not only does he have fried chicken for her, he's got Valium, he's got a syringe, he's got a gun, and he's got barbiturate. Was it hers? Right. Okay. But okay. So then why does he not want her? He wants her to die now. Why didn't he want her to die a day ago, a week ago, a year ago when he was on the beach with her?
I was hoping Phil was answering that because I was
I think
just
Phil
getting back
might
to
have left.
Sorry, I was
think
wondering.
it's-
Griff's voice got very quiet. It's like, he
Oh
just
yeah, no,
came back.
I got up. So
Oh, I got you. Oh, okay. I was like, I was a little nervous there. Yeah, but he's not going to let her do it. He's going to kill her when he wants to kill her. It's going to be up to him, not up to her.
I'll say it's everything you need to kill yourself, but we're afraid to ask for. Ask for? She fucking is her shit.
it's all her shit. This is the stuff he collected from the beach scene.
And then there must be some kind of gravitational force on Melanie because they actors want to get their face all up in her face.
Oh my god. We're getting into one of the best
God,
shots,
dude,
period, all time. I can't stop looking at
his
I took a
face
picture.
when she
Go ahead.
when she pulls in close to his face. He has this look of terror, like he's never been that close to a woman before, or like seen a woman before. It's crazy. His face is like terrified.
And as we learned, Taro was right.
It's a game of straight chicken.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
And this is one of these. This is what pissed off Bruno Mattei because there's all these fucking long, like he can't make a cut because they're like
Right.
facing each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Not that you would ever want to break the tension.
not at
here.
all.
Unlike the tension that's outside the moist breast meat inside a beautiful piece of fried chicken. That can easily become some teeth.
So they're just staring into each other's souls.
She's got the gun, by the way, with one bullet.
She's like, "Why didn't you let me drown?" And he's just like, "That would have been a waste." I say. And then she pulls the gun out and puts it up to his chin, and he's just like the Joker into her fucking eyes.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Look, Mr. Restroom Hustler, I could kill you anytime I wanted." He's like, "Go ahead. I'm just gonna eat my chicken."
Can I please do Axel? Can I?
Yes.
I love this. Is my favorite line.
Of course.
He basically, she wants to kill it. She puts the gun up to her forehead. She's staring at him, and it's hilarious the way they're looking at each other. And so he's pulling out. He's got the fried chicken, and he says, "It's a free country. Anybody wants to kill themselves has the right to, while you shoot yourself or try to. I'm gonna eat." And he takes a bite of the chicken. It's like a tiny little bite of a thigh, and then he says, "Nothing does it to me like a fried chicken." That's
Fucking-
it. Well, he says.
No, he
but I'm
continues.
gonna stop.
Takes balls to
Oh.
kill yourself. Only person with those in the right place is yours truly.
The only one who has a pair of balls in the right place is yours.
And that just breaks Melanie. She drops
Oh.
the gun. And she was like, I was doing just fine before I met you trying to kill myself. I
If
didn't
you
need
wanted to sell 1 billion copies of a movie, this is the still. Him taking a bite out of the chicken while she's got a gun.
That's going to be, that will be the Twitter's picture. I'm putting
Yeah,
up, yeah.
I have that because I was like, you'll never want to see this movie, but look at this caption of this movie. Look
Right.
at this still. This is 1/60th of a frame of a.
It's the most
fucking-
intense KFC commercial you've ever seen in your life.
You know what? I love Norm Macdonald as the Colonel, but that is the best
Oh
way.
my God. Peter Wooten
He should
as
have
the
been.
Colonel. Bring that fucking ad campaign back.
Oh my God, him in there with his Foghorn Leghorn.
I think this episode's going to be so big that it's going to revitalize his career, and he's going to be the Colonel.
We've been known to revitalize movies and dead franchises.
Right. And he just mocks her. He's like, you would have chickened, as he's gnawing on a drumstick. You would have chickened out. You wouldn't have killed yourself.
You couldn't do it. You would have went and found somebody and played, oh, I'm just a young Southern woman looking for a man.
It's like, let me help you out. And he grabs the hand holding the gun and puts it up to her head. And he's just like, it's just as easy as eating a drumstick. As he's gnawing on that drumstick. He throws it in her mouth. She's gagging on, making the quacking noises like they do in the fucking sick pornos.
Right.
And he's just like, you're gonna die when I tell you to die. I'm your master.
He fucking shoots it, but
Yeah.
it's unloaded, and so you
Right.
get that click, and that's
So
when
she can load a gun better than he can, because he can't
Yeah,
even put
that's right.
one bullet in.
That's right. Well, he's shooting blanks, and so she collapses.
She
and-
just breaks down like a mental breakdown. He's broken her.
Well, now she's realizing I never would have been able to finish myself off. Like, can't do anything myself. I need a man for everything. Even my book of poetry was half written by my husband, Mr.
So
Back.
bear in mind, people, they're literally face inches from each other. During this whole entire scene we've been explaining for the past half hour.
It's incredible. It's tense.
He pulls out a switchblade, puts it up to her face, and is like, I'll kill you if you don't do as I say. Gets up and is like, you're gonna be my good little wife and staying in this room. I got to blow off a little steam first.
Just don't forget, I'm your master.
And then she just collapses. She's been totally mentally and emotionally broken by this fucking sick fuck named Axel. Got to aquarium. And as you
We
know,
do need to cool off.
yes, blow off some steam.
Yeah.
We see a woman, obviously a scientist, working at aquarium. I can tell she's a scientist because she's wearing a lab coat.
Yes, I have gone to many of aquariums. I love aquatic life and everything, and there's always
Life aquatic, you could say.
I've been compared to Steve Zissou too many times. But this is just the thing. Like, Phil's probably had this issue when his kids were younger, and you go to the aquarium, like, there's too many sexy scientists wearing stockings and low fucking cut dress, little skirts and lab coats with
But they have the lab coat. That's why you must respect her.
But it's like you can be horned up by them, but you have to respect them.
Right. She's a scientist. You can tell by the lab coat.
Right. So you can't pinch her on the butt unless you've given her a tip and she gives you, the nod first.
Well, hey, Mrs. Morrison. Don't even think about calling her by her first name. She's a scientist. In fact, I think it should be called Dr. Morrison.
Well, Murray, I'm going to go ahead and say
Dr.
this.
Morrison, yeah.
Thank you. This is very controversial of me, but I agree with you. I believe we should call her Dr. Morrison.
So Dr. Morrison's getting ready to lock up the aquarium for the night. Like the night guardsman or something. Like, hey, Dr. Morrison, how's it going?
I'm not getting a good vibe off this night guardsman. His glasses are too thick, his hair's too slick, and he's string bean.
At least he does his job at the night, as a night guardsman would do. The night killer can't even figure that out. But speaking of night killers, he's lurking right around the corner, and he chases after her. And if you pay attention, from scene to scene with her high heels disappear and reappear nonstop. Sometimes she's barefoot running, and sometimes she's wearing heels.
Is this true?
Yeah.
Phil, did you notice that?
Wow.
That's the
Well, that's
beauty
a
of
great
this
reason
film.
to watch this just one more time.
Yeah.
One more time?
You said you
I
always
have to
pick up
watch it
something
again.
new.
Yeah.
And he does grab her, and like you said, he pulls her dress up. We see she's wearing some sexy ass stockings.
Yeah.
Tim Murray approved. And then she breaks away from him.
I don't want to give this away completely. Murray, we revealed a long time ago we're Daft Punk, but we wrote that song one more time about this movie.
Yeah.
We want to celebrate every time we watch
Much
this
like
movie.
Weezer wrote the song, the Sweater Song, about this movie, too.
Oh, it was about Mrs. Beck.
Yeah.
Of course it was. Yeah.
This movie has inspired so much art. I mean,
Phil will
What?
come up with something and we'll confirm it for
yeah,
him.
by the
later,
end
you
of
know?
this movie or this episode, Phil will come up with a drink for this.
He'll have too many
for
drinks.
this movie.
He'll be like, I can't afford all these ingredients because there's too many drinks.
Yeah. I'm just gonna
It's
put
too
it out there.
complex.
I'm gonna put it out there for you, Phil, to make it a little easier. Drink
Yeah.
of purple. Something with a drink of purple.
Just
in it.
drink
Okay.
purple.
All right.
Which, if you guys listened,
writing
you would
this down.
get that joke if you actually listened to this mom.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
you didn't, because you
You
betrayed
could
us.
hear Murray in that episode, and you could hear Matt in that episode. You just might not have been able to hear me very well for the first 58 minutes.
He was so
Yeah.
distraught.
I was so distraught. I didn't get Shakespeare at that time.
You were just whispering, laying in your bed.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so he chases after her. She runs away. There's nothing really to this scene.
It's a weird scene, yeah.
And he does the old claw punch.
There's like a lot of groping that happens, you know, revealing of the stocking.
He rope-a-dopes her, and then
lets her run away for a while.
he's toying with her.
Does the Riccio through her you know, her
We're assuming he's blowing off some steam. We're assuming this is Axel. It has
blowing
to
off some
be.
steam, Bennett.
Unless we watched that scene from earlier. We're assuming this is Axel.
Really not.
Wow, I
Yeah,
didn't
he
even
has
put
this
that.
weird part where he grabs Dr. Morrison and from behind. That's when he kind of tears her shirt, and he's like fish, they need oxygen to live. I need your oxygen.
Wow.
Like,
what is great.
That was
That's
I was
Shakespeare.
smoking a lot of cigarettes like Mercedes Cambridge and
That's-
The Exorcist. I just
That's Shakespeare level shit, man.
my Larry-
Iago
Larry-
couldn't
I
have
just
said
stand
shit
on my
like that.
headset. Yeah.
So
Oxygen.
yeah, he takes her oxygen. Cut back to the hotel where Melanie is she's just sweaty. It's almost like she's detoxing, like he's like getting her off the fucking drugs instead of threatening to give her the drugs. Axel watches her, and we see in the background, and written in lipstick on the mirror.
She's okay, because she's like sleeping, and we start the scene by like looking up I think she's still wearing his shirt.
Yeah.
And so we get the shot of her legs, and we're like looking up the shirt into her crotch, and then we get him, Axel, sweating, and we're like, God, this guy is such a fucking creep.
Is there ever a scene where he's not sweating? He's
Exactly.
always like his
He's
forehead's always dripping with sweat.
Always sweating. And so then he
Oh,
finally
it gets really sweaty in a couple seconds. It's pretty damn sweaty.
And so he's like playing with his collar and everything. He's like, oh my God. You know, you're like, is he struggling to rape this woman or not? Or what's this struggle that's happening here? And then he looks into the mirror. And written on the mirror in makeup was, what was it here? I kill you, kill me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Claudio assuming what everyone who's watching this movie at this point is feeling.
Right.
So he's like,
And so
Hurry it up.
he shakes Melanie awake. I didn't get it let off enough steam, baby.
all right. So now we cut to him. He's like tearing up a wife beater shirt to make strands to like tie her to the bed. He's tying her up. She's almost like annoyed at this time. She's just like, ugh. Fucking face on face action. The amazing.
So close. So close.
I didn't notice. See, this is another thing. This is something that Phil picked up. I did not notice this. There's a sweaty axle nipple in this scene.
Oh yeah, no.
Yes,
I even
yeah.
written.
It's
Yeah.
so his nipple is so hard it could cut glass. This
Yeah.
thing is like,
Which is amazing because we
disgusting.
learned that he's a
And
gay,
it's a drop
gay
coming
man.
off it. Yeah,
Mhm.
he's got like a drop that's coming off the tip of his nipple. It's in slow motion.
He must
And
have
it's,
just got.
it's probably, yeah. Oh man, he's tearing up a white t-shirt. He's like tying her to the bed, but when he tears it, like he put like in an HD so you can see like the dust coming off the.
Yes.
It's erotic.
Do you think he just got a massage from a gay Mike Tyson before the scene to get into the movie?
That might
Get
have
that
been
nipple that hard?
That might have been
I
it.
think that was
Yeah.
Claudio's nipple. That was probably Claudio's nipple.
I didn't go into this.
But no, that was a Bruno Mattei shot. I'm sorry, guys. Bruno put that in.
Bruno put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't go into as explicit details, but yeah, I did put in my notes. They both expose their tits because we get the dog. They said, hey, we're gonna have female tit, we're gonna have man tit too. We're gonna keep things equal. Claudio ahead of his time.
Men can get breast cancer
And he
too.
did.
Griff.
That's right. That was exactly what I was gonna say. He was doing a breast exam, just like you, Griff, every morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Before
When
you
I do
sweat
my
it out.
affirmations in the mirror, Murray has seen it. My room is just mirrors.
Yeah.
And
they all say, I kill you, kill me. I know what that's about.
What's weird is I clean that every day, and every morning it's back up there. That's the fucking freaky part.
Oh my gosh.
This is a Halloween episode. Mattingly! He does sleep under my bed, so that makes sense.
All right, back to the aquarium, where we see the reporters talking about the murder of Dr. Morrison. They're crowding around. They're like,
We get an interview with the night guardsman, the fucking wormy dude with the slick back hair. He's like, yeah, I found him. She was sliced into slivers and chunks and fed to the fish. Guys, we know how this guy kills. And that's not how we kill. He doesn't slice anybody.
Well, we never saw the aftermath. We don't know. Because once again, Claudio's playing with our minds. He's letting us do half the work with our imagination.
Right. But I don't know. It just doesn't fit his MO. So I'm starting to think there's
Not
a
his
second
MO.
serial killer out there. Because someone's slicing this bitch. It's probably some weeb with a katana.
It might be Dr. Willow. Like we haven't even thought about all the suspects in this movie. I mean, it's not. Maybe it's not Axel. I don't know.
Yeah, really. Claudio has focused on like 2 people to be the possible killer.
It's got to mix it up.
Mr. Beck and Axel. We don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Beck and Axel. And we
All right, so they're apparently, Phil, there's a couple characters who are playing reporters in this scene. Do you want to explain to the audience how Alfred Hitchcockian the scene gets?
It is. This is great because I mentioned that the worst actor in the movie was the blonde woman from the workshop. But I maybe I'm wrong because we get to see Bruno Mattei. He's holding a phone to his ear the entire scene. It's got like a spiral cord on it, and it's like tucked into his pants or something. But it's Bruno Mattei. He's holding a phone. He's wearing a yellow scarf, and he's like, I guess he's like one of the reporters, but he's had a phone up to his face. But then you also see the great Clyde Anderson, aka Claudio Fragasso, and he's wearing a San Francisco Giants baseball hat, and I guess he's a reporter. I don't know what.
I hate
in this crowd running around.
I hate to interrupt you, but this is where
that's all right.
We separate the podcast boys from the podcast men. That's all you saw was Claudio wearing a San Francisco Giant baseball hat. Griff and I also saw him wearing a New York Giants jersey as well.
This is true.
So you see.
Wait, did they cut his? Did he try to break into Mr. Tanaka's house and steal his katana blade?
He did not do it.
What kind of a deal?
Okay.
Thank you for understanding that. Phil.
Sorry.
All right.
Full
Back
circle.
to
That's
your
actually
description.
Bloodsport is the first episode that I ever listened to of Golan-Globus.
Wow, that is unintentionally full circle. Amazing.
Giants
Halloween.
on Giants violence.
Yeah.
That would be actually a really good Halloween outfit to wear. San Francisco Giants.
Cut the
And
brim off.
Giant. Yes, cut the
That might be.
instead
That
your
will
eyes
be
and
my
have your
next.
eyes crossed all night.
Yeah, that'll be my next Halloween costume. I'll get a giant shirt and a Giants hat. I love this. Where are we at
Yeah,
in this
so
movie, guys?
that's about it. I mean, I don't know, but we're like, yeah. So Bruno Mattei is, kind of in there, and he's wearing a USS America hat, and they're mobbing that's the poor security guard, and he's like, he's just pulled away by the police.
Okay. So
Great.
now
That's
we
it.
Thank you, Phil. Scene over. Murray, take it
not
from
yet.
here.
We need a little more exposition. The reporter is in the foreground saying the killer's sixth victim is the victim of the mass maniac. All right. So now we know there's 6 victims to the night killer.
So we got the serial killer still on the prowl.
First of all, and his name is not the night killer; it's the mass maniac, which was also Lyle Elzada's mass wrestler on Learning the Ropes.
Oh,
Learning the ropes. We're trying to get Paul London on to do an episode of Learning the Ropes.
That would be great.
But
we're going.
Wow.
How can I interrupt
I'm done
that?
singing. I got it.
Okay, we're going back to the motel.
But I will say this:
One of
the
my
word
favorite
night
shows.
killer is never mentioned, so technically he could be the mass maniac.
Yeah, this might have been one of those I don't know. We need a title. He kills.
How about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3? It's too on the nose. Night killer.
Who came up with Night Killer? Because they clearly did not view this film and said. Because what day are we on, by the way?
3:12, 7.
We're on hour 50.
We're on hour 50. Yes, of course. But this might only this.
We're not
might,
talking about the podcast. We're talking about the movie, Phil. All right.
But this might
Oh,
be
okay. Oh,
the
shoot, I got
third
lost.
day. This might be the third day. First day, Melody gets horribly traumatized. Second day, she drives out, gets horribly traumatized and kidnapped. Third day, he or she is being held, maybe.
Did you notice we always get a reporter scene after a kill, except for the Southern Belle that got killed in the art studio? Is she been found?
We don't know about her. I don't think we know about her.
Wow.
This could be 7.
She might be the 7th victim. We don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. This is one of those things that they'll find a body down the river, they'll carbon date her or whatever science they use, and they'll be like, wow, she actually died before this one. This is coming. Claudio is a true crime fan. He studied it. He knows about it.
Back to the hotel room. They just finished fucking. Did Axel rape Melanie in that scene?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't think that was. I thought he was fully clothed here. He's sweating, that's for sure.
No, it's
Tripping on
close.
her.
No, it's another close on shot of just their faces, and they're just dripping with sweat.
He is. Yeah. She's got his sweat all over her.
Yeah. And she's like,
makeup dripping. Yeah.
Okay, can you untie me now? Say pretty please.
Pretty please, finger licking, do the deed.
And she is rightfully says, fuck off, motherfucker, and slaps him. And she's like, fuck off. No cussing.
I thought I said no cussing. Dirty language from a pretty little girl like you, I think not. Slaps her across the face.
Slaps the shit out of her and makes her beg for a kiss. And eventually she relents.
Yeah.
He's breaking down her barriers.
That's right. He studied in Stockholm or something because she's falling into that world where it's like suddenly her abuser, her savior, is her savior. And so he's
So Tim.
Oh no!
Well, Tim, you mentioned that Tara Buckman didn't want to do kissing scenes with Peter Hooton, and you can see why. The kissing here is very odd
because he's forcing her. Because before he was telling her, "You're like, pretty please, can I?" Now he's telling her to tell him, pretty please, and do it like you got a lisp. Pretty please, daddy, give me a kiss. And so she's got to repeat that back. And after that slap, she's like, all right, he's in control. And she does the pretty please back
Yeah,
to
she's
him.
totally she's her master. She's submissive now.
And he's into it. And the sweat is
Well,
fucking.
he's trying to get into it. I mean, the character is into it.
The character's into it.
Yeah.
Peter Hooton is not into it. But the sweat is telling a story on its own because now he's sweating like the Niagara Falls.
Yeah, because he's like he's in real life disgusted by. Sure, character is disgusted about the situation. His real life person is disgusted by the situation because he has to kiss a woman.
Phil, do you have a great way to describe how he goes in for this kiss? Because I don't have the words for it.
There's no word for this. There's absolutely zero. It literally looks like an alien pretending to be a human trying to kiss her. It's really, really gross.
It's kind of like when you see Taylor Swift kiss Travis Kelce. It's like an alien trying to be human.
It's exactly the same way.
Yeah, it just doesn't look right.
Cut to the police station. Yeah. More reporters. So many reporters in this movie. So many Matais. So many San Francisco baseball caps. They're giving Detective Clark shit. It's been literally 3, 7, 12. I don't know how many days since this killer struck. When are you going to solve the case?
Right. By my calculation, fans, we're on day 4.
Where is Melanie Beck at, Mr. Clark? And is she dead? And why do you suck at your job?
Why was there no bodyguard on her? You released her from the hospital.
She was under surveillance, but she, disappeared.
It was soft coverage. You got to understand. We were in the 4th quarter with a 1-score lead. We went into a soft man coverage. That's
and then
football reference.
Detective Clark. She's the only person who can identify the mass maniac, night killer, whatever. And he's like, I guess she is. But she doesn't remember shit anyway. She's been traumatized.
She doesn't even know her own name.
And he gets in the car. He's like, you know what? Talk to the hand or talk to Dr. Willow. I got places to be.
He's not media trained. He'll tell you anything you want to know. Ask him anything. Ask him if he's circumcised. He'll tell you.
Doctor-patient confidentiality. He don't give a fuck.
It's out the window.
Well, how do we find Dr. Willow? And then like fucking Beetlejuice, he just pops up and is like.
I love the convenience of this scene because I wasn't expecting it. He's like, oh, just go talk to Dr. Willow. I thought that was going to be his deflection. And then there's Dr. Willow.
And we get a little exposition dump from Dr. Willow. Well, actually,
Dr. Willow.
A state of disassociated schizophrenia caused by her traumatic ordeal. A clinical examination of her revealed an inordinate amount of seminal fluid. That is a real line. That's not a Tim joke. An inordinate amount of seminal fluid.
Why did he even say
How much
that?
is an inordinate amount? I want to know.
How are they going to catch the night killer? They're going to, instead of a traditional lineup, they're just going to have the suspect spooge in a jar to see how much
was this
seminal fluid.
Was this?
What does that mean?
And thank God for the night killer. There's no DNA back then because he left an inordinate amount of it.
What is an ordinary?
That's what I'm asking. Yeah, literally tablespoon. What?
She was raped for 8 hours, right? Isn't that what was said earlier? Is that why they said it? To say, oh, it happened multiple times, Yeah, and it's like let's relive the trauma on the 6 o'clock news while you're eating dinner.
Well, Dr. Will, did she attempt suicide? Yeah, she did. I mean, I shouldn't be telling you this, but yeah. And she used barbiturates. I can't remember the last time I heard anyone use the word barbiturate. It's used repeatedly in this movie. What the fuck is a barbiturate?
I don't even know. It's just the only drug name Claudio Fragasso knew when he wrote the script.
Why did she do it, Doctor? Well, obviously she's trying to punish herself. She passively acquiesced to all that sexual assault. And now she's trying to punish herself for doing that, for submitting.
You've got to understand. The way pain works in the brain, the barriers the brain forms to block itself off. This woman has been induced into seminal affairs of a rapist. She has attempted suicide on habituals. She has fondled a gun with one bullet in it many of times. If you catch my drift, this woman is ill.
So now, and then we finally get the most offensive thing of this whole movie. He's
Wait,
just like,
more offensive than seminal fluid?
yes. He's like, well,
I
here's
did not realize that meant
here's-
semen.
if we want to really get the Night Killer, she was kidnapped, like we believe she has been doing, and she's been subjected to 8 hours of torture and
yo.
sexual assault.
This is Will explaining it
Yeah.
to the world.
Yes.
On the news. He did put his leg up on a stoop and put a pipe in his mouth, though.
If she re-experiences 8 hours of sexual assault, that would more likely cause her to snap out of it and recognize who the Night Killer is.
Everybody, this is Asimov's wormhole theory. This is perfect. This is seamless.
This is sitcom theory.
No, you're right.
And back in the old days, in a sitcom, when the character gets hit in the head and gets amnesia, hit him in the head again, and they'll get their memory back.
And of course, Murray, you're referring to
any fucking
the
Flintstones, Addams Family, every 60s show, Gilligan's Island. Every 60s show had that one episode where someone gets amnesia.
Wow, that's why Jimmy Snooker was a different person after Roddy hit him in the head with a coconut.
Yeah. So that's, without a doubt, that's the most offensive thing about this movie.
Oh.
Just rape her again and she'll get her memory back. Okay.
Phil, does this sound science to you?
You know, it was funny. I was looking up other quackery in movies to see if there's anything more outrageous than this theory that came, and I couldn't find it. You mentioned Dr. Loomis and all that. I couldn't find anything that's more quacky than this theory.
What did that Google search look like? What is the dumbest Scientology scientist theory in a movie?
Yeah.
What did
I don't know, but the FBI showed up, so I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, you gotta be careful about those.
Hide your
You gotta be
Night Killer
careful with
mask.
the Google search. Yeah.
Right.
That stuff.
Got back
that is good.
to Melanie. She's finally wised up. She's finally given herself over to her man. She's whoring herself up with some makeup, looking good, and she's loading a pistol.
Did you got to the end of that paradox though, right?
Yeah, we're all done with that. Yeah.
Dude, we're 9 hours in. I'm fucking sweating bullets over here.
Yeah, you're very excellent right now.
My nipples are really hard.
So while she's slutting herself up in the mirror, Axel comes in with some groceries. He's outside the motel. There's a creep who is the manager of the hotel.
Oh, stringy, thinning hair, comb over, ridiculous fucking jacket that doesn't match. Jim Cornette level mismatching, but just not as bright of colors.
Right, and he's just like, so, having a good time up there, are you?
Your girlfriend might be pretty drunk up there, because you've been bringing a lot of booze by.
And then as he says that, Axel smiles and just takes a hit off a little hooch he has himself.
Goes, you could say that again, bro. He's going along with it. He's got to stay in good with this hotel. He is holding a woman hostage, or prisoner.
Inside, Melanie shoots the mirror. Axel hears it outside because he's stopping to take a little swig.
Yeah.
Rushes in and takes the gun away from her.
Thankfully, yet again, she has loaded up the gun with a single bullet, and she shot the mirror, but she has also got herself ready for the night. She teased up her hair just how Murray likes it.
It looks fucking great. That's
huge.
Tara Buckman looked the best, I thought, at this scene. Knock, knock, knock. Hotel manager. Look, if you want to rape women and hold them hostage, that's your business. But don't you be shooting up my hotel room, buddy. And then it's like, well, I can explain. It's nothing. It was just a little gun went off.
Holy.
Here's something maybe this will shut you up. He pulls out a folded $1 bill and then puts it in the guy's glasses, covering one of his eyes with it. And it works. The guy takes that down. That's right.
I thought he was gonna be, because you can't see it obviously, and he takes it out and looks. I thought he was gonna be pissed or disappointed. I mean, that's not even gonna pay for the mirror. What's he?
Right.
It was $1.
There's one thing
he was happy.
that's real. like Claudio gets this character dead right, the manager, though, because we're gonna see in a minute that he talks a tough game, but he immediately backs down. So of course, when Axel barks back at him, he cowers. So that's what we got there. He stuffed that dollar under his eye. Perfect. Again, guys, when we talk about these movies and it's like the acting's terrible in it, but every scene hits home. Every fucking scene hits. This scene hits home.
So he scurries back off. Axel turns around to see Melanie, one of her tits hanging out again. I guess she was doing another exam. Maybe she felt a lump, and that's why she shot the mirror.
Maybe. One lump for a lump.
And she's like, "Do you like the way I've hoarded myself up?" "Oh, yes, I do. I say.
Right.
And then he's like, "So do you remember?" And she's like, "Yes, you're the one who's going to kill me." And then he looks off like distraught. We're like, what's going on in this scene?
There's so much emotion.
Cut back to a policeman reporting that they found Melanie's car on the beach and they saw her with a half-naked guy in a Jeep.
It's accurate.
How long has this car been sitting out on the beach?
1 day.
One day.
It's been 4 months.
4 months. We're into springtime.
She's been in the she's been in the hotel getting raped.
We're we're a year away. We're back to the next grade.
Yeah, it's 1990.
Oh
It's
man,
December 1990. Yeah.
We're back at the police station. Dr. Willow and Detective Clark are talking over what's going on. Clark tells Willow he's done it. He's really done it. We don't know what's that done it is, but we're in the dark here. But Dr. Willow goes, "I'd hope it wouldn't have come to this." Is this part of that big plan, Phil?
Yeah, the emergency plan. I think this is we might find out what this is soon. So yeah, they're teasing it along a little bit more.
Is
But
this
Dr.
what-
Willow is completely useless because he's like, "So what do we do now?" And it's like they didn't think it through. He's like, "I don't know."
Yeah. And
Clark's like,
Yeah.
"Oh no. Your TV appearances have been giving this killer the ideas for this shit."
right. And here I am. I'm a cop. The only thing I have is right here.
Oh!
He puts his gun down. And right here. And he puts his badge down. I fucking shoot people.
I was only hypothesizing. I couldn't be my fault. I didn't think he would do it.
Right.
Don't blame me.
My hands are tied, as you police
I
say.
will blame you. And if you don't get it right, I'm going to the press to make you look like the quack of the century. Well, I guess if I have to talk to the press, I'll do it. I have to twist my arm. What else do I know about Melanie's backstory? Just thinking about more dirt to tell him.
All right, everybody, and we're getting into some quick cuts here. We're getting Axel. He's dressing Mel up. He's putting on like a disguise.
He puts a gigantic beret on her head.
Gigantic hat.
And it's like, is this supposed to be like Patty Hearst kind of thing? Because she had like a beret on when
That's a Phil question.
She turned out, she became part of the Sibian Liberation Front or whatever. Yeah. But he puts on some sunglasses on her, and he's like, "Nobody will know her now." That big ass beret on her.
And then, of course, we go back over to the news. We got constant news coverage.
I know. What's been going on with Sherman and Clarissa? Well, they're hanging out watching the news.
Oh, that's right. They were. And the news is covering that they believe Melanie has been abducted because, again, it's been 2 days since Melanie was allowed to leave under free will because, of course, she's American. She has that right, just like she had the right to off herself with a pistol in the face in a motel.
Right. Yeah.
Clue now. And so, yeah, they're just like, oh yeah, she's gone missing, but we believe now that she's been abducted by the serial killer. Putting that out there for the world, and then we see, like, I don't know who mentioned it, that Sherman is watching this by himself when Clarissa comes to join him. So now Clarissa knows all about her. Do they use Melanie's name?
Yeah. Yeah. Clarissa was just like asking about, inordinate amount of semen in her mom. I mean, I really don't know what was going on. But if you remember on the TV, this is what Willow's plan is. So remember he said he's going to have to go to the press, or Clark was going to make him look like the quack of the century.
Yeah.
Willow is on the TV, and he announces an ultimatum to the murderer, and he says, your time is up. You made an error kidnapping Mrs. Beck. You have 24 hours to call the police and give up Mrs. Beck. And then you're kind of expecting, like, what does he get in return? And he's like, the police will bring him no harm. What does that mean? Like,
Well,
why would you do that?
right.
Like, they're not going to give him a beat down or something?
I imagine they give him more than a beat down. It's like, what? He hasn't come with any hostages. You based on all the serial
Yeah,
killer
why is
true
that
crime.
an incentive? Like, it's like the worst plan ever.
Yeah, it's like based on all the true crime shit that's already existing in the world that Claudio clearly was using as inspiration for this film. It's like they just want the notoriety, and this guy's not ready for his minute in the sun. So
Oh, he's doing great. He's doing great on his own. He did not. He's been in there for 4 months.
right. So this is, I would say, Claudio's one fucking downfall of this movie. He didn't have a good exit plan for a serial killer.
No.
So Willow
Emergency
doesn't.
plan, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
Willow doesn't have anything to bribe him with per se. All right, and then we get that fucking
yeah.
yeah. We get that twerp
Yeah,
manager
they go to
getting
the hotel, yeah.
yeah. We get that twerp manager getting that paper and Mel's face with her done up hair and everything.
Beautiful,
She's
great.
glitzed out to the fucking 9th degree.
Glamour shot.
Glamour shot on the paper, and I loved
It's a
the caption.
sketch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the sketch.
It's a
They were like,
hand-drawn sketch of Melody. Like, who the fuck drew that?
could you tell us what the
He didn't
headline
have any
was?
photos apparently that he
Yeah.
could use.
Yeah, why don't they have a photo of her? Like, she's wearing a mink coat too, in the hand-drawn
You
picture
know
on the
what?
front page.
I didn't realize how backwards that was because
Yeah.
it was a sketch. It was like somebody came in and said, "Oh yeah, this guy mugged me. Here's the description of him." They have pictures of Melanie.
That's a new,
They
You
needed
think
a
cops
sketch
are
artist
doing?
to can render her.
you think cops are doing victim sketches?
Well,
of the
it's
criminals.
too easy to figure it out by photos. Could you just give us a sketch? Could you describe her?
And the headline says maniac victim kidnapped, whereabouts unknown. Police are on the way.
Because the twerp calls 911.
Yes. Get me the police. Clark shows up by himself. He doesn't need no help.
He gets dropped off by, Black and White or whatever they called him.
Uber just dropped him off.
He gets an Uber there.
That was the one time Claudio couldn't get a cop car when he needed it from that guy. So he comes in demanding a key, and the hotel manager's like, "Is that it? Just you?"
Guy, I'm talking about the maniac killer that's been on the loose for
The mass maniac?
maybe 9 days now. Some say he kills at night.
Don't question me. I got this.
Grabs him by the tie, so of course he immediately pisses himself. The
Right.
hotel clerk, that is.
He's like, I don't need a partner. Everyone knows I work alone. Because what we don't know about the backstory of Clark is all his partners are either dead or have been wounded in the line of action.
Yeah, Claudio gave us enough context clues to be able to sniff that out.
So now Clark busts into the room, pulls his gun. It's empty. Go ahead.
How do they? So Clark walks into the room, pulls his gun out. This is a hotel room. It's not an intricate room. It's one
No.
room, and they appear from like in front of him and knock him out. Like, why? How did they? Where were they hiding?
Yeah, it is
Like,
a
like
huge.
Mrs. Beck was like, and Mrs. Beck's catatonic. Like, how did he get the drop on Clark? You know?
It's incredible. Again,
Terrible.
this is a shining scene because it's like this is a motel room, but it's got a U shape to it where there's a giant hidden living room apparently. So it's like when you open the front door, you're disguising that living room.
That offers solution.
Yeah.
The mirror.
No,
Yeah, it was the mirror that.
they were hiding behind the mirror.
Well, they're using mirrors like an illusionist does.
Oh my god!
But it was broken.
Was it? Did we ever really see that mirror?
Okay.
We saw the other mirror. There's many mirrors in this. This is a motel of mirrors.
This movie is holding a mirror up to society's face,
That's right.
and it doesn't like what it sees.
I don't like what I see.
All right, cut back to Sherman's house. Sherman's wife. We see Sherman leaving with a gun. She's like, "Where are you going with that gun?" "I'm going to kill that motherfucker. He scratched my beautiful face."
No, Sherman, you can't do it. Call the cops. They'll do this. They'll handle this. We've got a daughter to think about.
"You're the only person who's seen the night killer's face. You can't get killed."
Right.
That Melanie, she's just a fucking tramp. She's like a bitch in heat. She'll fuck anybody.
Anybody,
She
literally.
deserves it. She doesn't, she deserves to be killed, but she doesn't deserve this daughter, this beautiful child named Clarissa.
That's right, Clarissa. She would beg for us to be her parents as opposed to that dirty tramp Melanie. She once went to Baskin Robbins and said, "I'm the 32nd flavor. Fuck me here."
And I saw you looking at her when she was sprawled out naked, examining her breast for lumps.
What are we to?
What?
Are we going off track?
No.
Okay.
She's still calling Melanie a whore.
Oh, okay.
She's like, "I saw you looking at her." And was this literally a line of
Yes.
Tell the
Yeah,
line
it's
for
like-
everybody.
Yeah, it's like she says, I see when she's laid around nude and and I'm trying to figure out what scenario was that, like where Annie and Sherman's was watching her nude and drunk, and then Annie says this, and practically nude semi. That must have been read like right off the page, and that must have been all for Gaza. Like these actors just read what was given to them. I'm convinced. I don't think they said they were even asked the question of the lines, but yeah, practically nude semi.
So basically, Annie's saying Melanie is a whore who deserves everything she's gotten, and Clarissa, her child, is behind them hearing all of this.
Right. And of course, she comes out with her sneezing greetings nightgown on, and she's like, "I want to see my mom."
She said "mommy." It's like she's like a 12-year-old.
She's a
She's like,
12-year-old.
"I want to see my
huge.
mommy."
Yeah.
"You're not my." She's like, "I'm your mommy, dear. Don't worry. You're not my mommy."
Wearing her mink coat, by the way, Annie is, because she's always just wearing it.
Looking classy like her mom.
That's right.
And now we cut the scene.
We cut away. We see that Axel, he disguised Melanie for a reason to bring her into town.
Right. And they park on the street, go up to a payphone to call the cops. Why? To toy with them?
I wish I knew. I wish I knew his fucking reasoning here because he's worked.
Did you notice though? I'm sorry, Griff.
No,
Did you notice though that there were 3 payphones?
Yeah.
And there's this scene might be the most disturbing scene in there because not for what's about to happen, but there's the 3 all the payphones have different heights. Did you notice that? So
No,
there
I
was
didn't.
one that was made for there was one on the left side that was made for obviously people that are small.
Oh.
Are you okay,
Yeah,
Tim? Did you see
Thank
that?
God we got rid of those. God. Deserved it. Be able
No,
to
it's for tiny
communicate.
people. Yeah.
Just give
It
him
was,
like
it
a
was
little
disturbing.
apple box or something. They can stand
We
on.
had a little milk crate down there for him.
So I guess he's gonna toy with the cops in Willow because he calls them up.
And I love the trust he has at this point where he's like, Melanie's completely brainwashed.
Yeah, he broke her.
Yeah, exactly. So I can bring her out. She won't run far from me.
You know what the test was? That beret. She's like, nobody would go outside wearing that giant fucking beret.
No,
unless they were totally my slave.
Exactly.
So yeah.
But while he's talking on the phone, and he calls into the police station. He calls up Detective Clark.
Yeah.
And he's having a quick one-on-one with them, and he's getting in on them. You're the ones that started all this, but now the ball's in my court. What the fuck is this supposed to mean? I have no idea what's happening here.
He's just toying with them.
Why is he toying with them though?
Because he's the night killer, right?
Oh, right.
Jeez. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the point
Unless
where
you saw that scene earlier in the movie.
this is the
Yeah.
Zodiac killer type scene where he starts sending in the coded messages and everything.
Exactly.
He's calling from a payphone for a reason. He's got his watch out for a reason to keep track of it.
It's
Yeah.
37 seconds. You have to keep someone on the line to
37
trace a
seconds.
call.
Even in 89?
Well, in the midget ones, it's half that. But yeah. So while he's
Those lines are
toying,
shorter, of
while
course.
he's toying with, yeah, there we go. That's a joke. While he's toying with her, Melanie turns around and sees the newspaper, and she sees that. It's like, "What's that great drawing of me?" It is something clicks, and she just like skedaddles off, scurries off while he's deep in this conversation with Willow and Detective Clark.
So we get a spattering of scenes here that are all fantastic in their own way because we see her run off. We see that
Scene with Sherman is so awful.
Sherman has said no to Annie, gets in his car, and we see him just driving around town.
But he's literally poking his head out the window, like
Yes.
staring at the camera.
It's Ace Ventura level. And like he's got his full head out the window, catches a bullet with his teeth and everything. It's ridiculous.
That's the
Good thing-
best. I need to make it
Good thing he did, because he spotted Melanie. And he's like, Melanie, get in the car. He just jumps out of the car in the middle of the street, grabs her. She just goes with it. She's so broken, she'll just go where anybody tells her to go. And he takes off, and then we see Axel running after him, and he gives a Stingray-worthy no. Profusely sweating in the middle of December.
Without a coat on.
Say.
Now, Phil, we've given you the out. Do you want to bring up how the phone call ended, or do you want to let it lie?
I don't know. We were kind
We'll
of running out of time.
We'll let it lie. Everybody,
I think we should let it lie.
There is a hidden Easter egg in there. If you want to go watch this movie, you should have already done
That's
it.
the thing, Griff. Like we said, every time we see it, we see new things. We want to let the audience see new things.
Yeah,
we don't want to
please-
explain it all.
Because I've watched this movie 3 times now, and I did not notice the scene until Phil told us pre-recording. So there's another like brain scratcher in there that will really make you hit pause, rewind, and watch it 9 more times.
Yeah.
Because that's what we did.
Yeah. So turn on the closed captioning and listen to the scene at the end when he's talking to Willow and Clark, and he says something. It's the last thing he says, and he drops the phone.
There's 2 Easter eggs in this scene.
Yeah.
What Phil's talking about, and then one that happens immediately after.
Right.
So
with the phone drop?
Yeah, which we're gonna let everybody get on their own.
Oh, you're gonna let it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, go on there, get that figured out. But Sherman has taken Melanie back to her own house, which she hasn't been to for 2 to 3 whole days now.
Or weeks, or months. We don't know.
So, very traumatizing experience.
He sits her down and says, look, I'm going to go to the police.
Go ahead, lock up your house. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
And as she...
As she stumbles over the notes and forgets where she is. 2:30.
She takes a look outside to that payphone on the lake, and she sees a guy roll up in a black leather coat. I think was he wearing sunglasses or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Outside on the phone. Yeah.
And he gets on the phone, and then all of a sudden that beautiful ringtone that Griff loves so much goes off. And then you thought fucking Peter Hooton's no was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Fucking Stingray was amazed by this no. Locks the front door.
Yeah.
And leaves the key in the lock as everyone does, every normal person does. Right. And then,
do you recognize me, Mrs. Beck? I'm back. Yeah, that's awful.
The night killer's in the house, Griff.
Yeah.
And he announces right there. He repeatedly calls her a bitch in heat.
That's right.
You're like a bitch in heat. You wanted it. And then he pulls the mask off. And to the surprise of anyone who did not see that scene about
I
half
did
hour
it.
into the
3
movie,
times in, I have not seen this scene yet.
she before we see the face, she goes, "I remember who you are." Flashback.
Phil, please do the honors of taking us through the flashback.
Okay, so you see when the flashback happens, you see that Sherman. Remember when he's menacing her before? Or I'm sorry, geez, I just revealed. It's getting away. Oh shit! Oh shit! I blew my line. It's kind of like when I was a little bit slow on Hey
You
Bud. What
could
happened to your
never.
clothes?
Well,
I
now we know
fucked
you
it
can
up.
never
It's
serial
okay.
kill. You
It's
blow your
okay.
Note to
It's
self:
Sherman.
never
Here it
invite
is.
Phil on again.
It's fucking
Like-
Sherman. Okay, Sherman was pulling off the mask, and he says, "Thanks to you, I have the scar for life." And it's Sherman. But the question I have is, was that Sherman across the street?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
But
Who's
how
the
did he get?
actor?
How did he? But he was okay. Let me ask a question. How did he
Yeah.
was driving a different car? Like, how did
Was
he
he?
get another car? Like, yes.
Yeah.
It was
It's the
like
mind games
it
that
was
the night killer plays. He probably parked his other car.
Was that
But
Annie's
then how
car?
did he get in the how did he get in the house?
Well,
If
that's
he
because
was outside and
He made a duplicate of the key. Or maybe he used one of his
so he has his
claws.
own keys.
He picked it with one of those rubber
All
claws.
right.
there's a lockpick
Anyway,
set under
it's
there.
it's anyway, it's Sherman, and they flash back, and remember when he pulls the mask off, they closed on Melanie, they show it was him, and he's got his stupid voice.
Well,
And he's taunting her with that switchblade.
And what's really important is that we follow this scene to the bedroom where he ties her up with like ripped up articles of clothing, and then he's waving the knife in front of her face, telling her to beg pretty please for death.
And no cussing.
No cussing.
He's
Go ahead.
chewing on a drumstick as he's saying all of this.
Exactly. This bed was littered with fucking fried chicken.
And we're like thinking, wait a minute.
Do I
Damn you, Claudio. I thought it was Axel had to be the night killer. How is this guy the night killer?
How is this guy? Axel's been such a motherfucker. Who the fuck is It's his twin brother. It's got to be. And that's why he's on the phone in the house. I've seen this before. That's it. That's the reveal.
There's two of them.
There's a twin.
Two of them. Oh god.
Again, Murray, I said this was Columbo. This is an episode of Columbo. Twin brothers. One's inside, one's outside.
Was there an answering machine involved at all?
How did you know? There actually was in that episode too.
I want you to kill yourself. And he unties her hands and puts the knife in her hands, points it towards her chest.
And she's going down and getting the music. It's intensifying, and the knife gets closer, closer, closer. But finally, she slashes at Sherman. That big, dumb scar he has on his face that's a day old and looks like he's had it for, 9 days and never cleaned it. That was dumb.
Cut back to modern, present time. That was a pretty stupid move. Back to flashback. He's chasing after her. He falls down the stairs.
We see her stumbling after, still with the knife, and he's saying, "It took me hours to get that knife away from you, and by the time I did, there was people gathering."
Yes, there's a gathering of the juggalos.
Yeah, what were they? Why were there people there?
Why? What? Man. It was the fucking reporters, dude. They're everywhere.
Yeah, they're crawling
like
TMZ.
vermin. They're
Really. This is the talk of Norfolk, the Hollywood of the East Coast, man. And it's Melanie. She's the biggest poet of all the East Coast, even bigger than Yeats, or that was Yeats. Butler, who was an East Coast poet. Okay.
So
I don't know. It's the guy
just
that Peter Hooten was in a relationship with. Okay.
So she's just like, Axel, yes, you and Axel, you set me up, but you failed. And he points a gun at her. Goodbye, Melanie Peck. Melanie comes out of it. She's back to herself.
And this is where she's like, "Oh, I know how to get out of this situation. Turn on the charm bomb.
Blow a little fog your way."
And so it just so happens that she's wearing a loose cut sweater. She's like, "Oh, wow. It's getting really hot in here.
So
Sir.
take off all your clothes.
Is your hair beautiful? Let me touch it. And Sherman doesn't know what to do with this because he's used to a wife in a mink coat that never takes it off.
Oh, yeah, she teases him constantly. There's nothing worse than a naked woman in a mink coat who never takes the mink coat off.
Exactly. And so now he's seeing a full breast for the first time in broad daylight, despite being the night killer. Broad daylight yet again.
Yes. And he's fogged up. And hey, you seem to know the sexuality of every actor in this movie, Phil. Is this also a gay actor? Because he has a weird way of kissing a woman, too.
Yeah, he sticks his tongue out, like, and it's really like she's sucking his tongue, kind of like it kind of reminds me of Face Off.
Oh my god.
Huh.
Nick
Have you guys
Cage
seen Face Off? It's
Yeah,
great. It's got a
I heard of
something
it.
peach.
Mrs. Beck, I could eat a peach all day long.
Oh, go ahead and slice me off a sliver.
And that distracts him enough that she puts her hand down his pants, pulls out that switchblade.
Well, she hits him with some of that fucking Little Red Riding Hood poetry that, of course, it comes back. Claudio always brings back from his movie. So he's like, oh, Big Bad Wolf, what a fucking dense dick you have in these pants. And really what she's going for is that little pocket knife he's always carrying. And she stabs it up into him. And the artwork, the blood work that they do on the jeans is terrible.
But he stumbles.
I think those are the same. Those are the same jeans from the movie Pieces when the guy gets his dick ripped off at the end. But she stabs him in the dick.
Yeah, and he just goes, "Oh, that hurt."
Yeah, he's like, ouchie.
Now you die. We get the worst stunt man, fucking Shatner level. Like guy looks nothing like Axel. Leaps, and he doesn't even. He just like stumbles into the. It's like because the door is like a French door. It's like all like windows.
Because Sherman backs up and pulls out a gun, and so this is where our Shatner actor,
this like. Falls. He doesn't like leap through. He just like falls down, hits the ground. Cut to Axel like coming out through it from a roll.
Yeah. And I would be surprised too. I probably would stop whatever I was doing. It's like in wrestling when the music hits. You're like, I forgot everything I was doing. What is happening right now?
Sherman misses, but Axel knows how to load a gun because he shoots him like 6 times.
And he shoots for center mass.
Right.
You also notice his shooting style. He had kind of like a slight coil into his wrist. It was very military, very Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Sonny Crockett.
And he did shout, I'm standing my ground. So it's totally a clean kill.
I didn't even know we had those laws in the Upper East Coast here, but I guess we do.
So, hey, is everyone's mind blown? Anyone who didn't see that scene a half hour into the movie, are you shocked to learn that Axel is not the killer? It was Sherman all along.
Right. And,
well,
go ahead.
I have a question. The question is as this all played out, he didn't have to rape her. He basically Sherman revealed himself as the night killer. So everything that he did was just disgusting.
No. Someone hasn't been listening.
Yeah.
So
Dr. Willow explained it all.
He did.
Rape was an important aspect of this plan. This emergency plan. It was an emergency plan.
Literally, this is what Willow is explaining to the audience in a scene we're about to see.
So when we were talking about the emergency plan that throughout this movie, the plan, I guess, apparently, Axel, Beck, yes, people, Axel and Mr. Beck are the one and the same.
Right.
He was in on this plot that Willow came up with. I'm glad I'm explaining it now. It's like all of a sudden Phil's like, "Oh my god, it takes on a different dimension. I did not piece this together."
I gotta watch it for a night
rape
time.
and beat her. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, because like we learned in the sitcom world, if you get amnesia, you get hit on the head, you get hit on the head again, it'll go away. If you're brutally sexually traumatized and assaulted for 8 hours, another 8 hours of it will set you back into the right frame of mind.
So she had to do this, even though Sherman totally told her he was a night killer. So she would get her psychosis would be cured. Her trauma would be
Yes.
relieved. Her
Yes.
paranoid schizophrenic disassociation would be cured. And so that part was what.
It was like
she's no longer
Okay.
traumatized.
when
She's
that
over it.
traumatizing scene happened, it split her timeline and she went into an alternate universe. And that's why in our movie universe, she was amnesiac or whatever the word is. She couldn't she had no brain connection to this world. It's because she was existing in a whole nother world. And so when she met with that face again, bam, there she is. That's the wormhole. Asimov's logic. She is back in our world now.
And thankfully, Claudio has another exposition scene with the reporters. Were just here for exposition because they're hanging out. Is this like 5 minutes later? Like did the killing the murder of Sherman just happen, and then the reporters just show up?
Norfolk, man, TMZ everywhere.
And
if you notice in the back, did you notice this part in the background? There's a van. it's a black van. It says 99 FM on it. And it says
yes, it did.
It says the Rock and Roll Patrol. So it was actually an FM radio like rock station van. It wasn't a news van.
That's big listens, man.
Yeah, man. Well, did you also? I bet you didn't notice this, Phil. Did you see in the background Claudio Fragasso wearing an Arizona Cardinals baseball cap and a St. Louis Cardinals jersey?
He predicted it.
What you been thinking about that one?
It just came. It's no genius time, but came to the right.
Oh, good. That's good.
So,
this guy
so now
was the best.
Clark and Willow show up. Clark explains. All of a sudden, he's taking all credit for this brilliant plan he came up with. Well, clearly, we devised a plan to catch the killer. Mr. and Mrs. Beck acted out the trauma to bring her memory back. Yes, it was dangerous, but we were right, and no one should question us.
Science did not run amok. It was profoundly tested. And I'm a genius, and award me, please.
And then a reporter goes, "But what about Mr. Beck? Wasn't he kicked off the force?" And Clark goes, "Fuck, he's getting a promotion for this shit."
Ma'am, I assure you, he's getting his gun back. He's getting his badge back. We're giving him a second gun. He's getting a secretary that's hot that he can fuck on the side. He's getting all the KFC.
He's the chief of police.
He is the chief of police.
He's gonna be the chief of the Virginia Beach Police.
Oh,
why wouldn't he? He's kicked his drinking habit. He's beaten up his wife.
He never had it. Well, I guess he was taking a swig off of some booze, but he seemed to have it under control. So I don't know.
Except for that scene when he was going back to the room, but I thought it was the traumatization of his wife being completely out of her gourd and he having to try to go into this bit to get her back out of it. Like, I thought that's why he was forced to drinking. He didn't look like a comfortable drunk.
Yeah.
But he did look like an abusive
with his hand.
Yeah.
He broke a glass before any of this happened. That was him. That was Axel. They happen to have the exact same leather coat, I guess.
That's true.
Axel F.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We only have like a couple more.
We gotta wrap this up.
Well, in film notes, we have
weirder. This scene was weird. It starts out super weird.
Yeah.
Because we're the happy families together again. Clarissa, Melanie, and Axel.
Christmas Eve.
And they're laying in bed doing like, here's the church, here's the steeple. Open your hands and here are the people. What the fuck is it? Who does this with their parents lying in bed?
Yeah, my grandma used to do that with me, and that's it.
Okay.
And then Clarissa's like, okay, well, I want to hear it.
Let's hear the theory.
No, we'll get to it at the end. We'll get to it.
Okay. So Clarissa, she can read the room. She's like, oh, my parents want to fuck. I got to get out of here.
Yeah, she's smelling the fog.
Right.
Yeah.
Smelling that funk.
She's
because now they're going to have husband and wife sex, Graf.
There's no tying up. There's no knife.
It's just missionary. They don't look at each other.
There is chicken fingers involved. I will point that out. There is chicken. There's a lot of gagging and gravy involved, but it's all consensual and fun.
And in a marriage, which is where you should only have sex.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Mike Johnson, our new Speaker of the House, told me The only true sex is marriage sex involving Kentucky Fried Chicken gravy.
Heterosexual marriage,
Yeah.
sex between a man and a woman,
And the Colonel.
and some chicken fingers.
And Jesus.
Jesus just likes to watch.
Jesus likes to watch, but he's involved.
So it's like, may I be excused from this awkward situation, Mom and Dad? Sure, honey. And this is what killed me. Like, I was like, okay, Axel's ridiculous Foghorn Leghorn voice. It was because he was playing a character, right? And he's going to be normal when he's Axel. No, Peter Wooten chose to use. I don't know why I keep calling him Wooten. It's Peter Hooten. Chose that fucking voice. I say.
My baby girl, you can go down and pick out any gift you want and take it to your room and be very quiet. And actually, you know what? Be very loud. Because
Mommy and Daddy are gonna be fucking all night long.
Me and the Colonel are gonna get all over your mama tonight.
Go, Colonel. So
no, we didn't.
She goes down, and what does she grab? She grabs that gift that Sherman gave her at the beginning.
Didn't realize it until my third watching that this present comes up at the very beginning of this movie.
And then X was like, will you ever forgive me for brutally raping you for hours, days, weeks? Well, for a good cause. I'm back to normal now.
You love me. You love me. You love me.
In fact, thank you, honey, for doing that to me.
That's right.
Oh, honey, I would do it again if I had to.
And this is that beautiful sensual moment where she takes two fingers and dips it into the KFC gravy by the bedside, and it's.
And then they cut away because Claudio is like the imagination.
I wanted to see more of like the dip and flick or something.
No.
Really get the connection back to the music video, but no, we don't get that.
Yeah, Claudio's like, use your imagination.
Use your imagination. In fact, there is a cut to Claudio telling the audience, I'm not going to show you what happens in here. They're a married couple now.
Right.
Use your imagination. But we do go to Clarissa's room.
He like leaps onto her bed in slow motion for some reason. And there's like, they're playing like lullaby music or something.
Right. The innocence of childhood.
Right. She opens up the present.
And we're like, oh, fuck, what was it? It was probably like a boombox with some fucking Twisted Sister in it or something.
And then they cut back to act just before they're going to fuck again. Melanie's like, you think this will fuck up Clarissa at all? Tom Heals. Maybe.
Just look at you. It took you 5 whole days before you were back to normal.
I hope he doesn't do the same situation to cure Clarissa.
Yeah, really.
Clarissa, we cut back to Clarissa, and she's got the fucking night killer mask on, Griff.
Looking in the mirror, and Phil,
shit.
What does she say into that mirror?
I'm back. This is back. Just for you.
Wow, setting up that sequel we all deserve, but we never got.
Would you want a sequel to this movie?
If Claudio could come up with a better idea, you know. I mean, there's so much story to build on, Griff. I mean, he just laid the groundwork.
He's got a rubber claw that can punch through guts. This is intense shit here. I will remind you guys, I didn't mean to bring it back to Lynch, but in the 3rd season, he had that character with a green glove that could punch all evil in the universe. So, did Lynch borrow the glove from this movie?
Well, I think you didn't know this. They've worked together. Yeah,
I think they did.
Yeah.
I think they did. Phil, do you want what would a sequel look like to you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Clarissa is going to be involved in the sequel, right? I mean, that's what it was set up, but I have a question about that.
Yeah.
What was Sherman's end game? He gave her a gift with the Night Killer mask in it.
Right.
And it was supposed to be open on Christmas. Like when she actually, like, what was going to happen? Like she was going to open up on Christmas and it's going to be this scary ass mask that was associated with the killer that had been raping people. Like what was, I don't understand.
Well, the plan was he was going to kill her mom.
Yeah.
And then he's going to, I think, taunt her with the mask. Or maybe because his crazy wife wanted Clarissa to be their kid, he was gonna assume for some reason he's not going to assume like her father was going to take her in. They were like, of course we're going to get Clarissa. So then he's going to take her under his wing, and she'll be the Night
Yeah.
Killer Junior.
That's right. But I think
here-
that's my theory. Like, I had a theory about this. I think
Please.
Clarissa was in. I think she was in on it the whole time.
Yeah.
That's why I
do-
think she got the gift. That's my theory. It's like, remember when we did Burial Ground and you were like, yeah, I have this theory that Michael is a 70-year-old man and he's
Yeah.
playing along. I think
Yeah.
Clarissa is either, she could be like an 80-year-old woman, or maybe she's
Yeah.
her daughter, and maybe her and Sherman cooked this up together.
Oh, totally.
and she was in on it. Yeah.
I like what. No, she wasn't in on it. She actually got into Sherman's head and caused him to become the Night Killer.
Yes.
Yes, because he even though he has apparently an inordinate amount of seminal fluid, he's unable to bear a child of his own.
Jesus Christ. There's too
You know?
many.
God, that's
Yeah.
the most horrible thing. Like I can shoot giant loads, but none of it fucking swims
Yeah.
straight.
Yeah, it doesn't swim. Doesn't swim.
That's where I think this movie was going as well, is that obviously Clarissa's parents split up. Clarissa blamed Melanie for it. And she was going along because she was trying to get dad back because she wants custody. She wants her dad to have custody.
So do you think that Melanie really was a whore that was fucking everybody?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You saw the way she looked in that mirror and she was like, you know what?
She can't even keep her hands off herself, let alone. Yeah.
Exactly. She's like, my husband's had me too many times. He doesn't appreciate my body the way that a stranger would.
And Axel has whiskey dick all the time because he's drunk.
Exactly. See, when you think about it.
And do you remember? Do you remember the scene where Sherman's trying to get out of the house and Annie's like trying to prevent him from getting out of the house? Who's the person that provides the distraction for him to leave? It's Clarissa.
Exactly.
Remember?
Oh
She's
my
like,
God.
and that's when she's like, "You're not my mommy." It was
Yes.
her. She was an accomplice. That's why they were doing these. That's why he sent her that gift, because it was like their little secret.
Yes, exactly. I think very much.
Claudia.
I just want to say, Vinegar Syndrome, if you're going to re-release this, we will be available for commentary.
We will be available. I mean, we have a tight schedule, so get ahead of us early and we'll figure it out.
We solved the puzzle.
We already solved
We figured it out.
Yeah. And there's more gravy to this turkey leg, so you gotta get to us and we'll reveal it.
Right.
But until that day, this ends this book of Night Killer, which again we've gone over. This is not the appropriate title for this movie.
No, not. It should be Day Killer.
Day Killer, soap opera killer, anything that like puts you in the mindset of mid-afternoon.
Masked Maniac, like they said in the movie, would have been better.
Yeah, that could have been better.
It's kind of bland, but yeah.
But these fans of ours that chose to listen to it because Vincent Price wasn't involved have been.
Yeah, I'm sorry if Vincent Price isn't edgy enough for you guys. Like, is this some good, wholesome, old school horror?
Too campy for them? I don't know what the fuck they want. Maybe they will like this because it's full of just like unsavory, totally offensive scenes.
They'll eat it up.
They'll eat it up like Axel ate up that KFC.
Well, like I said, this was your treat. The trick was you're not getting Kinjite, forbidden subject.
Way. We would never give you guys that. I'm serious, Murray. I think we should do our first episode over again. That should be everybody's reward for being such a shit for all
Sorry,
October.
Griff. I did the poll. Nobody wants that.
Yeah, I know. That's why we're going to give to them. Because they don't deserve it.
No, you know what? First of all, before we go into what we're doing next week, I want to give a big round of applause to Phil the Slash for doing this with us.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Phil.
you for putting this movie into our lives.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, this has always been really fun. I just want to say happy Halloween to everybody, and just really had a great time being on the show again. You know, Night Killer is one of my favorites, so I'm getting a little choked up. Thanks for letting me be a part of this. Really honored. Thank you.
And thank you, because fuck, man, it's so fun to talk about these dumb movies with, people who appreciate them as well, as opposed to just me and Murray yelling at each other about how great these movies are.
And maybe sometime in the future we can pitch you against another one of our guests that we love so much.
Maybe.
We need to like set up like a March Madness bracket.
Oh, that would
yeah. Well,
be.
I actually I thought we were going to be able to air some grievances, and
Oh, you got a grievance
sad to
there?
say
You know what?
Let's hear it.
I was on the certain social media platform, and I saw somebody liked one of my, I guess they're posts now, or tweet. They used to be called tweets, and that person was Jack Badelier. Thought we had a deal. I thought whoever won Matt Houston versus Magnum PI, the person that lost was what? Thrown into the pool of acid.
Mhm.
But for some reason, he's escaped. He's escaped certain death,
You need to understand.
and he's
so
he's still out there. I don't know what happened, guys. You want to
normally, no. Let me explain. Normally, we would do that, but he's our weapons master. What, you know how hard it was to find a weapons master to begin with? We got to start like doing auditions again.
Yeah. So I mean, we had we were pushing them along. We have our very long stick that we push the people into the pit with, but we never. And he had a lawyer present, and Mattingly is not a very good lawyer. He had a anti-acid pit suit on, and we didn't ever put in the fine print that you couldn't wear an anti-acid proof suit.
We put it in now. But,
Yeah. Oh no, it's fucking. We think it's foolproof now.
Yeah, it's foolproof now.
So
okay. You know what? I love Jack, but a wager is a wager. And,
You want him dead?
I don't know.
I mean,
we might have to kill him then, Griff. I don't know. I mean, we don't want to do it, but it sounds like our own night killer wants
We
to.
do run by the rule of what have you done for us lately? And Jack hasn't been on in a few months now.
Really? That sounds like our listeners. Is that us?
Too much every week.
Yeah. This is the paradox of Golan-Globus Theater. We love you guys. Give us less.
Give us less, please.
Give us shorter episodes and less episodes.
Yes.
No tippy taps, please.
No tippy. But anyways,
all right. So yeah, we're done with you now. Let's
with the audience or Phil?
With Phil. Okay. You know what, Griff? No. I know our audience are nothing but no good liars, but we're not liars. And I did make a promise last week,
right,
that we would do Kinjite.
And
I like a Lannister. I honor my debts and my word.
Oh, I get it. We're winking.
No.
Okay.
We're gonna do it, Griff. We're gonna try to do it. I don't know if I think we can do it now. Then again, I haven't seen this movie in 5 years. I might be shit I'm forgetting that
we did just do this movie, which is just full of like terrible shit.
Yeah, but they're not children involved with it.
There is, yeah.
But it's got Bronson in it taking care of this trash. I think we can do it. I think we're gonna try.
We're 4.5 years older in podcast years.
5.5 years older.
5.5 years.
This is our second episode.
Yeah,
no one's ever heard.
Yeah, and the copies that were existing are gone because I smashed that laptop.
Oh my god! So we don't have any of our old episodes anymore?
No, we have a lot of them.
Okay, because I don't know, we're getting a lot of YouTube listeners now. So
yeah,
I don't want to.
Oh no, everything's still up on our SoundCloud too.
Oh,
it's just the episodes we didn't post.
Oh my god! So the Caligula ones now?
Oh no, I still have that one because that was one of the worst things I've ever been subjected to. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. So look for Kinjite next week if you're good. And one last time, keep it spooky.